beer is about drinkability. Doesn't matter the style.
You guys are like walking beer Wikipedia. That's the first time that you've ever accepted me as a person.
Or you have a fermentation in your gut.
I'm jet propelled at all times.
How many guys do you think that you have the privilege to slap?
Somebody who's never tasted a commercial example, and this is how you know everything about this beer? Please, you don't.
I think that's bullshit.
I think it's bullshit too.
Wow. Are you guys going to arm wrestle?
No.
They're going to teabag fight instead.
Yeah. You heard of Junkyard Wars?
Can I get another high five, Beavis?
Now, live from the Brewing Network studios in Northern California, this is the radio program for home brewers, craft brewers, beer lovers, and beer geeks. It's your only source for live beer radio that brings expert brewers together with, well, expert drinkers. This is the radio program with a head on it. This is The Session.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to The Session. I'm your host today, Justin Crosley, joined by Jason J.P. Petros.
Hi.
Teresa Pasuti.
Hello.
Kim Shimke.
Hi. Yay.
And Beardy.
Yay.
Yeah, got lower. Bevo's here too, by the way.
Low gig.
Double yay.
Yeah. As low as you can get.
That's right. Welcome to the studio, everybody. We got an exciting show planned for you today. East Brothers Beer Company. What is it, plural? East Brother, singular. And they're from Richmond, California, which will be fun to talk about. Those of you who know anything about the Bay Area know that Richmond, California, has a unique and checkered history.
That's true.
And
That's true.
It's evolving as a city, and I'm excited to learn about that.
That's true.
And I've known a couple of breweries that were going to open there and didn't, to try to get in on this evolution of Richmond. So it'll be excited to talk to East Brother Beer Company about that. In the meantime, we got a few things to cover. We just got back, a couple of us, Beardy and myself and Kim Shimke from Firestone Walker Brewing Company.
Woohoo.
We spent a couple days there this weekend resurrecting my favorite beer ever.
Kind of a big deal.
Yeah, Pale 31.
Yes.
Is that like your life dream? You just achieved it?
I mean, kind of. Yeah, yeah, actually, I'm done. now that you mention it, good luck tonight, guys. I'm
JP,
going
you're
home.
up.
Are you ready for it to die again?
Right.
Because this isn't a long-term thing.
You're right. It's a seasonal thing. And it's also not exactly the beer. But the brief history is that the brewmaster down there, Matt Brynelson, called me a couple of months ago and said, hey, I've been looking for an excuse to bring back Pale 31, and who better to do it with than the Brewing Network, because you guys both loved it the most and gave us the most shit when they got rid of it. And so said, would you like to come do that? And we're going to put it in our mixed pack. It's what they call a treasure beer in their mixed pack.
Plus, experimental brewing declined.
Yeah, exactly. So they are putting the Brewing Network branding all over it. It's got a hop grenade on it.
Yeah, I saw that. I was really disappointed I couldn't make it work, because that would have been a lot of fun. It sounds like it would have been a really good time. But
it was fun.
Yeah.
I took a bunch of video, which I'll work on. I've got HomebrewCon this week, so I'll do my best to get that put together as quickly as possible. But we did some video, and a couple of minor changes. Tasty had some input. It was really important to me and Matt both that Tasty would have some input, so he helped with the grain bill a little bit.
Okay.
I'm not going to reveal everything now. I'll wait till like the beer's in people's hands, and then maybe we can have Matt on to talk about the changes.
Yeah, we should do a tasting and discuss all that for sure.
But we just did some minor changes to the malt bill, and then we thought we might do some semi-major changes to the hops, but Matt lined them all out on a table for us, like each on their own piece of paper, and you get to smell each one. And we ended up pretty darn close to like the original one. Yeah, we added just a little bit. We altered it.
Right.
And we added
a couple.
We might not have added one. We might have subtracted one.
We substituted one, I think, is what ended up happening.
We did.
And before they were all laid out on the table, just going down the list, it was a hop that I was pretty dead set against adding. But then
the benefit of being able to smell that thing. It smelled so great. It's like, yep,
we can
sure.
name this. What was the hop? That you,
Chinook.
The Chinook.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm not
nice.
a big Chinook fan, but that Chinook that they had there,
Well,
it was
Chinook is
really
a big fan
nice.
of you, and so I feel like you being open to that was good.
Yeah, it brought it, and I accepted its aromas and bringing.
And I am a Chinook fan, but not necessarily in my beloved Pale 31. So I didn't go in going like, oh, I really like Chinook. Let's make that the difference. But we all went down the line, and everyone just kept going back to this Chinook.
Yeah.
So that was kind of our major alteration with the hops, and we'll talk more about that.
Well, I think what's cool about that little anecdote is hop selection really matters. And everybody knows that Firestone has the best, well, not the best, but they have some of the world's top hops, right?
Yeah.
But you don't really think about that until stories like this kind of come out where, oh, Chinook, nobody's really stoked on Chinook, but this Chinook, this is the Chinook to be stoked on. That's kind of cool.
Every one of us. Matt had the same opinion. Their operations guy came in there, and he had the same opinion. We all just kept going back to this hop. So it's still a big blend. And what we're talking about here, by the way, is in the dry hopping. I believe we kept the kettle hops exactly the same as Pale 31.
Oh, cool.
I don't
We
think we
did.
touched
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
After you were all done and it was all racked off into the fermenter, did everybody just kiss? Like a grouped kiss?
That happened.
'Cause that would have been tight.
Off camera.
Oh, okay.
But it happened. It was a little wet and gross.
Yeah.
But it happened.
See, I would have been dry, like dry mouth, like dry, like I am right now.
Chimkey was like that.
That doesn't surprise
Which
you.
was disappointing.
Yeah.
I didn't have
Well-
my chapstick. Didn't have my Carmex.
Right.
But she was lingering too long, though. It was a dry lingering.
You would, too. Like, here's
Meaning we all left, and she's just still there moving her tongue around in the air.
Yeah.
Oh, that was good, right, guys?
Yeah. Am I doing this
Guys?
right?
Yeah.
No, that's a 3-inch butterfly port. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Your lips are cold.
So it was fun, and we'll have more reporting on that. It's going to be available pretty soon, as you can imagine. It doesn't,
Sure,
you know,
right?
they're not
It's
going
probably-
to sit on a beer like that.
It's probably already done fermenting.
It could be. We're going to have some here in kegs, both at the Hop Grenade in Concord and the Hop Grenade in Fort Collins, and then we'll let you know. It's going to be released nationwide in their mixed pack. So all of you listeners, I should say most of you, I guess, are going to get to try the beer if you go seek out the Firestone Walker mixed pack.
That'll be cool, man.
So when Firestone Walker goes to do a one-off like that, how much beer are we talking here? Like how many barrels? Do you know?
So we brewed on the
100 billion.
We did a double batch on the 85 barrel system that day.
Correct. And then I was told they'll then do a 200 barrel batch, which they will blend. I think.
Oh, wow.
That they'll end up, or maybe they'll do another one on the small system, the 85 barrel. I'm not clear on that. I do know that yes, we brewed a double batch, and then they're going to brew another one before it's released, and I think they tend to kind of put them together. And that way, because it's a bunch, because they're letting us make these decisions, and they do this with others too, I think they feel like we don't anticipate anything going wrong, but just in case, we're going to want to brew another batch and make some tweaks.
Yeah, so you've got that buffer, so if this batch really sucks or it's really amazing, they could bring the amazing down to just pretty amazing.
Because we're talking about a massive amount of beer here,
Yeah,
right?
that's
this
a lot of beer.
You don't get to, there's no dumping this beer.
Yeah, I think that's like a quarter of the year for me.
Okay, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Like that was January to March.
In an afternoon.
Yeah, in one shot.
But we spent the whole day there. We got to push some buttons. We got to throw some. We got to throw some hops in. Shimke did some work with chemicals.
Yeah, they gave me the dangerous powders.
Yeah.
The one person with asthma had the powders.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Both times, mind you.
That was an accident.
Yeah, Warren had the eye goggles.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Asthmaholic over
Yeah.
here had the chemicals. That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
It was a long day, too. I mean, we started pretty close to 9, and it went, about 6?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a good long brew day. And it's cool because we would do a few things and then we would just continue the tour. And the tour, it's a campus now. So the tour is massive. It's not just the brewery. Then you go up on top of the 2 different fermenter farms. We got to go up on the really high ones too, which was scary and
70
awesome.
feet up.
Yeah. That was really cool. And then, then you can go through the bottling line and the canning line and so we would do a few things and then go on a tour and then do a few things and then continue the tour and then stop for lunch and then continue the tour. And I videoed like the whole tour. So I'll be doing my best to show you all what we're talking about here. You can pay attention to our YouTube page. I'm not saying it's going to be some like amazing cinematic experience, but it will at least be our experience.
Oh, it's not going to be an IMAX?
That's not yet.
Oh, okay.
4K HD.
Yeah. I mean, I could have shot in 4K, but I didn't. I don't know why.
I mean, you need a giant memory card, I would imagine.
Right. So anyway, it was a lot. It was a good time. And then Beardy and I stayed up till 4:30 in the morning. We got everyone too drunk.
Yeah.
I believe that Eric here ended up throwing up in Matt's yard.
He missed telling me that on the ride back.
Oh, did he now?
He did.
Yeah.
I think I eventually put Matt to bed. I tucked him in.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, you have to stop being polite. Do not try to keep up with me and Beardy.
Did you kiss him on the forehead,
I
too?
gave him a little kiss.
Yeah.
In fact, even the night before, I had to send his wife to bed as well because they're so polite, and Beardy and I are ridiculous. So I have learned to just be like, I think I even said it to you, Teresa, the first time you hung out with us. I've learned to just be like, listen, don't be polite around us. When you're ready for bed, go to bed. Because if you're going to wait for us to go to bed, it never happens.
That's right. I like it when couples are upfront with other people like that.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's good.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Beardy and I are that way. And so, finally, at I don't know what time, we're playing bocce ball in Matt's backyard until the wee hours. And I'm just like, Matt, you need to go to bed.
And then he had one more beer.
Yeah, of course.
And then he went to bed.
He's a professional.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Maybe he was just worried about his stuff.
Yeah,
he was watching his
that's fair.
family and his stuff.
Sure. That's a good point. Yeah.
You guys were all just playing like go to bed chicken.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Who's gonna go to bed first?
But see, that's what I'm saying. Terrible game to play with us. It's just a
can't
terrible
keep
game.
up.
And not because of any effort, because we're idiots.
Yep.
I'm just like, hey, I'm wide awake. There's another beer in the fridge.
We're not out.
Why would I go to bed?
Yeah.
It's just a dumb game.
The
to
sun's
play
not
with.
up yet.
Yeah. It's not even a challenge. It's just my life. But great time.
Yes.
Great time. And then Beardy and I went on a wine tasting date the next day.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah.
And we did some wine tasting all afternoon. We invited Kim Shimke and Eric, but they're fucking lame. And I don't know, did something else. So
Here's how this went. The day before, Justin goes, I want to go, around some, not hopping or anything, but, 3 wineries. We're like, that is winery hopping if you're going to 3 in a day.
So. No, we ended up going to 4.
And
You're right.
we're all
But they
like-
were walking distance from each other.
Correct.
We're all waiting for the day to start. And poor Eric was at home having breakfast with Matt, who's probably both of them are like, well, do we wait on these guys? Long story short, you guys got up at maybe noon?
Maybe like 11.
Yeah, 11.
No, it was not 11.
No, I think we got up 11.
Yeah.
Well, maybe
We didn't
11.
get
And
moving
went
till
back.
Maybe noon.
Yeah.
It's an hour.
We
So
got
we
up at
said,
11.
screw
We rubbed
this.
one out.
And
Eric
then we
just
went
said
to
it
a
was
brewery, and then
11:30.
we went drinking at
Yeah.
another bar. So it was great. We had our own good time.
But then we were wine tasting. At that point, you could have done part 2, like wine tasting. It was a wine day.
You made it a wine day.
We got private tours of 4 different wineries.
Yeah.
How did
And
you
a
finagle
distillery.
that?
Because we had met a guy who worked at a winery the night before, and he gave us his card, said, come on by. Went and hung out with him first, and then he took us
He
to
drug
all
you
the
around.
other ones,
Yeah.
and we got a great experience.
Yeah.
So that was fun too. The whole weekend was a good time, but most importantly, I'm really proud. You're gonna wait till all you listeners wait till you see the logo. Wait till you see the bottle. It's the coolest thing. It's the Brewing Network all over it. It's not subtle. It's not like one of those collabs where they're like also with the Brewing Network.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, it's like our shit all over it, which I'm really proud of.
Yeah.
It's cool. So we'll let you know when that's available, and we'll do some parties here at the Hop Grenades in Colorado.
Love it.
All right. This episode and every session that we do is brought to you by More Beer. Go to morebeer.com and check them out right now. They got everything you need and more. Really, they have all the things. Go to morebeer.com. Let's do some announcements. Announcements brought to you today by Drake's Brewing Company. Go to drinkdrakes.com and check it out. And their next big event, if you want to go to the bar, and they're doing a brewer versus brewer dinner, it's Drake's versus Bike Dog up there in Sacramento. Closer to you, Teresa.
Oh yeah.
You can get to that. If you want details, you can go over to drinkdrakes.com and click on their events tab and check it out. So let's see. What do we have going on? BNA 14 tickets are on sale right now. That's happening in less than a week. It's happening on Saturday. Don't worry about Bevo. You don't have anything to do. except for all the raffle tickets and greeting all the people and checking everybody in.
Doing all the work
selling all
for
the
your
shirts
anniversary
and-
party.
Yeah.
And you have 5 days.
All the autographs you're going to need to.
And it better be all right.
That's right. That's right. Go to thebrewingnetwork.com and click on the BNA 14. It's right there on the events page, the big old picture. And get your tickets now. It's only $35, and then it's all the craft beer you can drink. I was looking at the beer list today. It's pretty damn good. Exhibit A out of Boston is getting some beer there. They're supposed to be like the big thing out there right now. Trillium's got some beer there. We're bringing out some Heretic Brewing for you. I think we're going to have some Plan B there. We had them on the show. Remember how good the Plan B beer was and how much fun we had talking to them?
Yeah.
They're that like random little farm brewery out there.
Oh, that's in Pennsylvania, right?
In fact, it's called Plan B Farm Brewery. No, New York somewhere.
New York,
I think.
okay.
Yeah.
Rural New York?
Yeah, I think
BEE, because they do like their own honey crap.
Yeah. I think we got some of their beer. I'll publish I'm just waiting on the final list from the distributor, and I'll publish that this week. So if you were like holding out to buy tickets to figure out if we had good beer, don't. We have good beer.
Who would do that?
Go to thebrewingnetwork.com. Get your tickets, please. Get your VIP tickets, too, if you want to hang out with Bevo and I and the boys from Melvin and More Beer for an extra hour and a little private Q&A session. You can do that as well. Also, we're giving away at this party the More Beer, the official Brewing Network More Beer brewing sculpture. So if you buy your ticket, you get raffle tickets. Then you can buy extra raffle tickets, and one of you is going to take home the award-winning system that Jamil brewed all of the Brewing Classic Styles beers on.
That's right. Whether you like it or not, you're going to take it home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, don't worry. We're not bringing it there. We're going to ship it to you. And we might even ship you out here to brew with us first. I don't know. We're going to figure that out.
Oh.
Yeah. But just another reason to do that. Plus, it's the finals of our collaboration competition with Melvin Brewing Company and More Beer, the Boyle Rumble, where we let homebrew clubs from all across the country compete. It's down to 6 finalists, which we will judge at the Homebrewers Conference. And then we're going to announce the winner, the winning club, at BNA 14. And that winning club also wins a brand new brew sculpture and gets to brew their beer to be distributed nationwide in cans by Melvin, and gets to enter their beer into the Great American Beer Festival Pro-Am and get an extra party at the Great American Beer
There's
Festival.
too many ands, dude. That's too much.
It's a lot of stuff,
you're gonna
right?
make these winners too powerful.
I hope Melvin comes through on all this because
They're like,
they're counting on me to do it. It'll be a good time. So go to thebrewingnetwork.com and get your tickets. What the fuck else do you have to do on a Saturday after the Homebrewers Conference?
Throw up in Matt's yard, I guess.
Yeah,
I don't know.
that's right. All right, if you want to support the BN in other ways, do your Amazon shopping. Just click the Amazon link on our homepage. It'll take you to a page where there's a banner. If you can't see the banner, take off your ad blocker because your ad blocker is blocking the banner. And once you click the banner once, you can then just save it as a bookmark, and then you can put your ad blocker back on and just go to your Amazon bookmark. It's a great way to support us by doing all your Amazon shopping. You can also subscribe and join the BN Army for as little as $2 a month. You're into the More Beer monthly donation giveaway, where we give you $100, chance to win $100 to spend at More Beer, and it's a great way to support us. And some of you do that. Some of you, the rest of you should too. Okay, what else? Twitter, Instagram, Facebook.
Sure.
All right.
Why not?
What beer did you get, JP?
I got the Social Kitchen Amber Lager, I believe.
Mm-hmm. I got our guest, East Brother Beer Vienna Lager.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah? Okay.
It's good.
Good. I love it. I love a good Vienna Lager.
It's got that.
It's hard to find.
It's got that toffee, slightly roasty sweetness without being sweet.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Cracker bready finish, maybe?
I think you should get one at the break.
I'm going to, for
I'm
sure.
recommending that.
It's the rare time that I can find 2 amber lagers on at the same time, so I'm going to do both.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, this is a cause for celebration.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. Are
have
you
Celebration on
having
tap?
it?
I didn't
Social
realize
also.
that it was there. I was in a rush, and I was like,
Yeah.
that's the one. So I have the Social Kitchen as
There
well.
we go.
Did you bring
Which
us
I'm
your
enjoying.
beer yet, Pasuti? I hear Eric keeps blowing you off.
I know. He totally blew me off today.
What a
But
dick.
he apologized, so I can't really.
I guess that makes it okay.
I can't begrudge him. He's just too nice.
Can I ask you another question that's going to make me sound stupid, as usual?
I love it.
Have you had
color is
dreadlocks
orange?
since I met you?
Wow.
Can I ask that?
No, the clip.
No, there's been a little bit of hair magic since last you saw me.
Because how do you? Because your dreadlocks look good, and how do you get dreadlocks that fast? I was like, Are they extensions? Were they there? And I'm an idiot.
It's just a little secret between me and my hair, but yeah, I mean, there was really some magical things that happened over the last
Were they
few weeks.
tucked under a hat the whole time I've known you? I don't understand.
So
she actually cut holes in her scalp and fed the back
So you remember
between her scalp and her skull.
This is the best way I can explain it. You know, when you watch Austin Powers, and he was caught by Dr. Evil, and he got his mojo sucked out.
Yes.
And then he yeah, I mean, it wasn't quite like that. It was more like out of my head.
Okay.
I've been trying to get my mojo back. So.
And you, I feel like you have it back. I think they look amazing.
I feel like myself again.
You got the energy, you got the power coming through.
Yeah. So
Samson.
My head is like 50% bigger than before.
Sure, yeah.
You know, you really should have just messed with him and said, he's never met you this way.
Oh, I know. What do you mean?
Yeah. What have you been the entire time?
Yeah.
And
apparently you don't seem to look my way. You know, it's because the microphones are blocking.
That's right. Yeah.
He would have believed you if you went with it.
He looks your way 70% less or 30% less than he looks at Warren and I.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he has a deep affection for Warren. I can understand. I gaze at Warren too.
That's right.
And I find it hard to look away. So.
Yeah. All right.
But yeah.
Okay.
But thank you guys.
Well, I think they look great. I'm just checking because I was like, I don't remember this. This is not something I remember.
It's just magic.
Okay.
It's all those California State Fair medals that you won.
If I explain it to you, you would just be disappointed.
Okay. Well, let's keep it a mystery then.
Which is, I mean, pretty much just life.
Wait. Yeah.
You know,
it's just life.
If you need to explain it to if you need someone to explain it to you, it's gonna suck.
It's gonna suck. You're right. Okay. Oh, speaking of all those medals, though, can I go back to one little anecdote from the Firestone weekend?
No.
And I'm sure I have this on video too. So you walk into Matt's office, and as you can imagine, there's awards and medals and such all over the walls, right?
Imagine.
As you can imagine.
And all over the tasting room, because Matt's office isn't big enough to fit all the awards.
Because everybody knows, they win a lot.
Yeah.
Okay.
They spill out into the hallways.
Yeah.
He also has a platter, like a serving dish, like a platter. Yeah. That is heaping tall of medals, just sitting in a pile on a platter.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you just in the corner. And
help yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
When you come, because I think everyone, because I had to comment on it. I was like, I was like, Matt, you're kind of fucking ridiculous with this thing. And he's like,
he might as well have a sign that says "Make a joke."
Yeah, right. Yeah.
In the medals.
And he says, I know. Do you want one? Just put one on. It's fine. Yeah. And so I'm thinking they're all like the janky ones.
Yeah.
No, not at all.
Like Kansas City State Fair winner.
I mean, maybe some, but
best carbonated beer.
They're definitely not all like some worthless award. Yeah. He has it's 6 inches tall at least.
Did you put one on?
And no, I don't want to. I'm a jinx. What am I? I'm going to be responsible for ruining Matt's career.
That's exactly what would happen.
You're already making him brew your favorite beer again.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Watch, nobody buys it.
Oh no.
We're like, that's in there.
Yeah.
No, I don't want that one.
Did you put a medal on, Justin? Because if that's what's happening,
he's gonna need to get another plate because I think the next medal will just slide off the pile. That's how heaping this thing is already.
So be it.
And I'm already a pain in the ass with this whole thing because my logo's going on it, right?
Sure.
So I had to talk to our good friend John over at the Beer Law Center about that.
Yeah.
And he's like, we got to do a licensing agreement. And I'm like, cool, just send him an easy thing. Like, hey, just use the logo. It's, 12 pages later.
Jeez.
And then I see David Walker at the Invitational, and he always comes to say hi to me because I do the panel for them. And he just goes, so, there's the paperwork done, Justin? Like, it's all and I was like, God, I'm so sorry. I'm already, here you are inviting me to do this wonderful thing. And I'm like, great. Have your lawyer read over this 12 pages and sign at the bottom.
Yeah.
It was a little awkward. I'm already a pain in the ass.
You've already cost them money.
I cost them money because their lawyers did go back and forth. And, but look. It's the nature of the beast.
That's what it's just business. It's not
business.
personal.
Like, sorry, they're not familiar with the level of business that I am, David.
Yeah, let me educate you just a little bit, or to use your lingo, a skosh.
Yeah,
about what we like to call business.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah,
business.
Yeah. By the way, here's John's card if you ever need.
That's
a better lawyer.
Actually, I don't know his phone number, but I can tell you his website.
Yeah.
And he might get back to you. I don't know.
That's right.
He might be tying his bow tie too tight.
I do believe John's going to be at the Homebrewers Conference. I'm looking forward to see him there. And if you
cool.
see him, you should go talk to him, too.
Yeah.
All right. I don't know. Am I supposed to talk to you about something, Kim? Why are you here?
I don't know. Are you?
Why the fuck are you here?
Yeah, after 3 months
just one
of
of your,
nothing.
Is this
Kim's
just one of
here
your
finally.
visits?
I just wanted a free beer.
Oh. You didn't get enough this weekend?
I didn't get enough this weekend.
Yeah. Okay. This is just one of your semi-annual visits?
Yeah. Yeah.
It used to be monthly.
I had the energy. It's still light out. I figured, take advantage because it's going to be another 6 months before you see me in here.
Oh, that's good. I look forward to that.
Shimke was supposed to go to the Firestone Invitational.
Yeah?
Yeah. So she,
What
hey,
happened?
you want to go? And she's like, yeah, absolutely. Great. Are you sure? Oh, yeah, I got a bed for you. The whole thing.
Her
Got a
boyfriend
ride.
wouldn't let her?
Fucking whole thing. And,
The calendar shifted
cool.
dates on me.
The
Okay?
calendar shifted dates.
So I text her like the day before we're leaving. Hey, we're meeting at Hop Grenade at this time.
Yep.
And she's like, tomorrow? You mean tomorrow? Yeah, for that Firestone thing. It's kind of a big deal. Yeah. She's like, no, that's next weekend. I'm pretty sure it's tomorrow. It's like, but I'm going to Oregon tomorrow. Okay, well, I don't know what to fucking tell you because Firestone is tomorrow.
Yeah.
And so she double boyfriend booked with the Firestone Invitational.
Right. Well, it's weird that a beer influencer gets a major beer event incorrect. She fucked it up.
Yeah. This is another thing that came up, by the way, her influencer status. Sitting around the campfire with Matt getting real drunk.
When you were drunk.
When we were drunk.
Yeah.
I didn't bring it up.
Matt did.
Sitting around the campfire getting drunk. Matt gets bored sometimes. You can tell he starts just scrolling through his shit. And
The highly evolved brain just
Yeah.
You guys were too dull.
It's not Justin being boring.
Yeah, no, it's not that.
No.
Yeah.
It's
not everybody being boring as hell.
so he comes
multitasking.
Him not wanting to be there.
Right.
And I think that Gemma at Firestone, their social their communications director, gets on him about doing more social media. Anyway,
okay.
At some point, 2 in the morning, he's like, "Hey, why the fuck does Kim Shimke have so many followers?" And I was like, "Well, what do you mean?" He goes, "Well, she has more followers than the Brewing Network has on Instagram."
Right.
And I was like, "She does? Well, that doesn't sound right. What the fuck am I paying her for?"
How has it taken you 5 years to ever even
This is why
notice that?
because I pay you to look at these things, not me.
Justin,
But I've been doing a great job.
For my first task, I'm going to tell you how many followers I have more than you.
Yeah.
That's never going to
Thank you for hiring me.
Yeah.
And he was really hung up on it for a second, which got me hung up on it. I was like, I don't know why. And he was like, but why do you think that she's so popular? I was like, I don't fucking know.
Gee, thanks, guys.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because she's a
sounds
girl.
Why do you think you're so popular?
Well, I started before you guys started doing Instagram, too. I started doing mine 8 years ago. You just started really posting to it when you hired me, which was 5.
Okay.
So I have 3 years on you guys.
Okay.
Probably even 3 or 4.
Sure.
Also, I'm a singular person.
Right, which means to me you should have less.
No, because people can build a connection with me.
And she's also a young,
answer my
attractive
DMs.
female.
So I didn't. That's
I mean,
what I
I'm
think.
not trying to
That's part of
sexualize it, but
okay, that's part of it. In our industry, if a young, attractive female shows up, you got to admit people are more likely to hit the follow button, right? Like that. Do you think that's part of it?
I mean, maybe it started that way, but I honestly don't think it stays that way because of that. Because there's all these actual sexy women with their breasts out.
Yeah. Okay.
And so if someone really wanted to follow a hot chick, that's where they're going. So
Well, you can follow multiple people. I don't know if you knew that about social media.
Wait.
It's not just
Oh,
one
that's how
account.
that
I've only liked one account this entire
No,
time.
you can't. No, you can. You have the freedom.
You're doing it wrong.
Yeah.
This is why I hired somebody else.
I got married at an early age, so I thought it was just one, and that's it.
And by the way, she was sexy girl with big boobs.
Right.
So he was done.
Yeah.
I had a type.
So you follow your wife on
Yes.
Instagram, and that's it.
Yeah.
that's the agreement.
Monogamy.
Yeah.
Well, just think
Online
about how
monogamy.
many young women are getting into beer, and do they want leadership from some old crusty dudes or from
From Kim Shimke.
Yeah.
Okay, I hear
I'll
you.
take Kim all day long.
I agree with you. I would also.
Also, I'm pretty proud that you've gone from it was something like 732 or 36 to over 30,000.
Sure.
So that's quite the jump. So I
I'm-
have
You
helped
should be proud. However, I'm a perfectionist, and so I feel like I don't know. I feel
Well,
like
now I just want to keep the gap as big as I can.
No. Yeah, that's not a good idea.
How often are you going to check on this now every night before you go to bed? Like,
I know. I
write in
feel
your
like-
journal, like X amount of people.
I can't because I don't even have an account, so I don't know how to check
He
on
doesn't
this.
even. He does have an account. He just clearly
He doesn't
know how to
use
log
the
in.
internet
You
either.
can go on a browser and go Instagram.com/whatever.
And it'll tell me?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
You can
fine.
look at your account online.
I wasn't worried about it until Matt was worried about it, and I was like, well, maybe I should be
Is
worried
Matt
about
worried about it, or was he just commenting about it?
He was worried about it.
He was worried about
He
it.
was kind of envious because he only has a few thousand.
Well, because
Right.
but he
I think
also
he has a
never
private
posts.
account too, doesn't he?
No.
No, he has like Firestone Walker Brewmasters.
Yeah,
his
but
Which is
handle.
his account.
But
Yeah.
he hardly ever posts.
No, I think that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like they make him post. He,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Yeah. No, I follow him. Like he's like never on there.
Okay.
So I think that's also part of it too.
I see.
You know.
But just do you think that maybe you're not doing enough for the Brewing Network? That
Oh,
we
is
haven't,
that
like,
that's what we're
Yes,
getting at?
that we
right.
haven't caught up to
Well,
you?
you
I mean,
know, funny thing about
I feel
that
like we
is-
have more content as a network than you have as a person. So are we posting enough content?
Well,
I try to get content from when you guys go places and I'm not there.
Right.
Kim's
And
getting
how
a bulking
often,
right
what
now
percentage
online.
of time do I get texts from all of you back?
Well, if you start
Every
learning
time I
how to
go-
use a calendar, you could be there.
Every time I go, I try to give you a couple photos, but you hate my photos, so now I stopped doing
That's not true. You haven't. The last time I got a lot of photos from you guys is when Garrett from Maui Brewing Company was here. Because
he's
you
a-
are all just like,
he's an
wow,
attract-
he's a babe.
He's an attractive
but like
guy.
outside of that, even
How
then
many
it's been like 2 years.
Right, yeah.
it. How many of those made it to the account?
Yeah.
3, because I did some of the stories.
Were they
But I
some of
have
our most
not
liked
seen-
photos ever? Because Garrett?
Yeah, right.
It was a high, yes.
Yeah.
Not like the highest of all time, but
No, it was pretty high.
yeah, they got a good engagement.
Hmm.
But
Press
just
pan
making a
with
point
Garrett.
that I always say, like, hey, if you guys are out, and then like either I get no photos or I get ones like
This is very Brewing Network of you to pass the buck right now, by the way.
What you should do, honestly, and I'm not joking, is just remind every time. It's something that everybody, I think, could use a reminder of before there is an event, or if you're
She
hard up.
reminds me every time. You should remind somebody else every time.
Give
Yeah.
them like an assignment, like, okay, I want all 3 of you standing on a keg in the cooler.
I used
doing
to.
a keg stand.
I used to.
Yeah.
I used
Or-
to get more direction.
Then you got all comfortable.
Yeah, well, especially now
No,
that,
then I
that-
didn't get anything back because I was like, forget this.
Well, no, direction I think is weird. Like, I wouldn't do it either, but like HomebrewCon every day, twice a day.
But it's
Send
just me and
everybody.
Bevo at
Yeah,
home
you know
with
who
it.
sends me the most stuff? Bev.
Yeah, well, then
Okay,
there you go.
well, there we go. That's fine.
And
what
if
are
I
you complaining
text her,
about?
I'm like, hey, can I get a photo of this? I will get a photo of that.
Okay, well,
She's
we're
real
going to
good.
be at HomebrewCon Wednesday through Sunday. So you two together.
Twice a day.
I'll even send you shitty photos from the airplane. Of
Yeah, see? And she's
Just
done
hot
that.
mess.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I won't be a hot mess till the way back, probably.
I'm gonna be a hot
How
mess on the
early
way
is the
there.
flight, though?
I like how Bev just got yet another thing to do.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it's her fault we don't have 50,000 followers.
Bevo's or
Yeah.
Kim's? Yeah. According to Kim.
Right, exactly.
Right.
Yeah, is that what she said? That's not what I got.
That was
I-
my
Very
takeaway.
convoluted, but-
I don't get enough photos. You know who sends me photos is Bev. Oh.
It's my fault.
Okay, well, I don't understand
Maybe
that.
you guys should just pass the buck right to the listeners and be like, listeners,
Well, that is true.
why have you not liked us?
So, I thought you meant to send us pictures. I was like, Teresa,
Oh.
stop it.
No,
No.
sorry.
Well, we did have a contest going
misunderstand.
for a little bit for listeners to send us photos of nudities, but that didn't last very long.
Oh, yeah.
Remember that?
No.
I think it was in the garage. Where like some listener
I
sent us a
remember
photo
this.
Yes.
of like his hot wife
Yeah.
naked
Yep.
against a Jeep, and it was like
yeah,
That
this
was the
not
thing.
for social media, though.
no, but
Yeah.
no, but it was like 10,000 pixels by 10,000. It like didn't fit on the screen. It was this huge thing.
Who are they called? I missed them. We used to get naked wife pics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Back in that was not for social media. That was
No,
just,
no.
they would literally email us live on the show
Yeah. Well-
just to hear our reaction.
I wonder how many of those people are still married.
Good question.
Or alive.
Good question.
Better question.
All right, I got to as fascinating as I'm sure this is. I got to keep us moving.
Yeah.
Do we have a Twitter game today?
We do.
The Twitter game is brought to you today, believe it or not, by the American Homebrewers Association.
I believe it.
And the American Homebrewers Association is an organization that celebrates the hobby of homebrewing, protects the rights of homebrewers, and provides members with world-class brewing resources. Visit homebrewersassociation.org to learn more about membership, or click the AHA link on our homepage, and you can sign up that way. And go to homebrewcon.org if you want to go join us at the Homebrewers Conference this week. What's our Twitter game?
Well, Justin, I've been thinking a lot about my body lately.
So have I, actually.
Okay. About my body?
Yeah.
Hell yeah, dude. So you've been getting the pics I've sent you.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
My
Keeping me
gains,
present.
My gains are coming along well. No, I have a skincare routine.
Oh.
And so I've been thinking a lot about how to get muscular.
Okay.
Right? Like bulky, kind of quickly, because I hate going to the gym. You hate going to the gym.
Mm-hmm.
We've talked about it all the time.
Yeah.
So then I thought about body enhancements, like body implants, right?
God.
Like I thought about going to Bulgaria to get like bicep implants, like shit you can't do in America because we have an oppressive government that controls your body and blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
Get swole.
I'm down.
So I mean, I'm sorry for being strong. These are my biceps. They're not implants. They're real. I
Yeah.
would lie to people, right?
Of course.
Just to get into clubs. So I think that's our next step on the Brewing Network, is to get into body enhancement. So like I said,
agree.
bicep implants in Bulgaria, going to Argentina to get modified elf ears. These are all things that like happen in other countries. So
First of all, I have never agreed with you more. This is what's next for us.
Yeah, thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So I want the Twitter sphere to tell us where we should go internationally or nationally, doesn't matter, and what kind of modifications should we get? We need to enhance ourselves.
Okay.
I would like to be excluded from this game.
Okay, yes, that's another one.
Okay,
That's
Bevo
2.
is excluded.
Yeah, Bev gets 10 a year, 10 deferments. She's 4F'd out of this competition.
It just sounds like a new sequel to Hostel right now. It's where I feel like this is headed, but I'm still on board.
We get these enhancements, we'll get more Instagram followers.
Yeah.
Oh, on this note,
It's like Saw, but reversed.
you guys have 40,000 more Twitter followers than I do, so we're even. Does that make you feel better?
Okay.
No, we started Twitter a long time ago, and 40% of them are all bots anyway, so it's fine.
Oh god.
Aren't Instagram bots a
Shimky
thing?
did get us verified, whatever that means. So
You got
that's
a blue
cool.
check mark.
You got a blue check
It's
mark.
very important.
It's very
Makes
important.
you look legit.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I had to fill out an application and everything.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's weird because they close and open those all the time. Like Instagram verification's closed now. Did you know that?
Oh really?
Like they won't.
So, like,
they won't
everybody
verify
from here on
anybody.
is
New? Does that mean it's worthless and no one cares?
Right.
Or...
It will be soon, because then I think what they're doing, what I've read, is they're rolling to everybody being verified, so you're an actual person instead of like a bot or a fake name account or something like that.
That sort of makes sense to do. I never understood the other way to do it.
You're a celebrity or you have a certain number of followers, then you can become verified. Is the thinking behind it, but then who?
Nobody
like,
cared.
no one cared.
Yeah, Kim cared.
Right.
For a
Well,
while.
you care to
For
get
you.
it, and then you get it, and you're like, oh.
I cared for you.
Oh, for me?
Yeah, I thought it
You
was
want to get
important
me a blue
you.
check mark now?
Wow.
No, I was like, this is important to Kim now that we're verified.
Oh, yeah, I
Don't
remember
look
when I texted you about this. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. This is so cool. We got the check mark. And you're like,
Yeah.
wait, what are you talking about? What blue check mark?
Don't look a
You
gift
know the
horse
one-
in the mouth. He's caring about someone.
I was, yeah.
Else.
That's
He was like,
someone else.
oh, cool, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For that 5 minutes, I really cared about you.
Yeah.
It's way better news than, by the way, we're a robot now.
Yeah.
So
We
Yeah.
got banned.
we're banned for being a robot.
That's right.
That would be bad.
Blocked, reported.
Okay.
Well, that's the Twitter game.
I like it.
All right.
I hope we get some good responses.
Yeah, me too.
All right, let's do some feedback. Feedback is brought to you today by the Beer Law Center. You go to beerlawcenter.com. John's still working hard for me. He can do the same for you. Go to beerlawcenter.com. And if you're going to be at HomebrewCon, look him up. I think he might have a booth. I don't know.
If you're going to be at HomebrewCon, just hug him. He's a big hugger.
He's huggable.
Actually, I don't know that.
All right, Nate in Copenhagen writes in. I'm not sure I understand this one entirely.
Okay.
I bet you were hoping we'd be distracted by debates about whether you like a guest's beer, but it did not work, Spin Masters. Next, you'll be telling us there's no connection between Tasty's cancer, Jamil's medical corner mystery, and the disappearance of the Adam and Eve live read. Perhaps you did get that tour of the warehouse, and these illnesses, sponsor gap, and the imminent lawsuit are simply the natural outcome. Think about it, sheeple. The truth is out there. Or lodged safely deep inside Jamil. So
That's a good conspiracy
I felt
theory.
like it was going somewhere, but I never got the theory.
That was just like word salad.
I understood, like, okay, here's all the ways you're distracting us, but was there a thing in there that we're distracting them from? That's what I don't get.
Well, I thought we're distracting them from the good versus bad beer debate with...
No, that's not what they...
No. Oh.
I think he was saying we're using that debate to distract them from something. Like, we got the tour of the Adam and Eve warehouse and everyone's dying. I didn't understand what we're distracting them from.
And we caught something from the warehouse.
You didn't get it either, JP?
No.
I thought of all people you might.
Read it again?
No.
The theory is that there's a theory.
Not that good.
He doesn't know what.
All right, Nate, try again, because I feel like you were onto something there.
You definitely were on something. I
Nate.
don't know if you were on to it or what. But.
Nate in Copenhagen.
Like a Sibian.
All right, Chad writes in, let's see. Justin, as I hit play on your last episode, which was RIP Brewing, I was a little surprised to hear the State Farm ad. Not surprised that in the you stinking sellout way, but in the wow, the BN is really gaining the attention of mainstream companies. Oh, man. You are so misguided. So misguided.
The internet's a magical place.
As I'm in the process of opening up my own brewery here in Southern California, it'll be Gray Wolf Brewing Company says, I've shopped around for general liability insurance for the brewery, and would you believe that State Farm does not offer general liability insurance to breweries? I'm not upset at you or them, but maybe you could use your extensive leverage to pressure them into supporting the small breweries.
Yeah.
Cheers from Chad. P.S. JP's still an asshole.
Whoa!
So, Chad, I think I did cover this. I don't mind covering it again. So the ads, we're sort of in this like blanket agency who will run ads in open like inventory that we have. If we have some open spots that they can put a little something. That ad we probably got like maybe $30 for or something like that. So we're not working directly with any major companies. We're working with like a broker who kind of does that if we have some extra spots to give, which we do because we're broke. So we just keep throwing in these extra spots. So thank you for listening to those, and they keep the show free to you. But I have no pull with State Farm.
Sorry, boo.
I will add this, though. While they may not offer general liability insurance for breweries, and maybe they should, maybe some breweries who are listening to this could approach them and ask for something. I did choose State Farm as my homeowner's insurance provider. In fact, they do all my insurance for one very, very specific reason. And you might remember way back in the day, my little sweetheart, my life partner, my soulmate, the Biscuit, a pit bull breed dog. There are many insurance companies out there. Well, first of all, there's a lot of landlords out there, and fuck them too. But there's a lot of insurance companies out there who won't give you insurance based on certain breeds. They have breed exclusions. And
breed exclusions.
And State Farm was one of those that did not have breed exclusions. And believe it or not, many, I'm talking a lot of them do. We went through a few, and I was like, no, fuck that. And I think State Farm was probably a little more expensive, but I was adamant that no. It's not a breed problem. It's a human. There should be human restrictions. I'd be fine with human restrictions because that's the fucking problem.
Yeah.
So I chose State Farm specifically because they do not have breed restrictions. So those of you who care about this topic and are looking for homeowners insurance, that's my endorsement for State Farm. They didn't pay me for that, other than the broker who got paid.
You should send them an invoice.
I just gave you a double ad.
Yeah.
I don't know. That stuff's important to me. I think it's ridiculous. When I was a renter, there was a time when I didn't want to have 10 roommates, and I thought maybe I'd try to go get my own apartment, but I couldn't with the Biscuit. No pit bulls, no Rottweilers, whatever. And it's a bullshit excuse. There you go.
She's been gone for a while. You probably could have saved some money.
No, because it's the principle of the thing.
That's right.
I don't want to support a company who...
That's right.
Who engages in that sort of behavior.
I see.
Fuck that.
Discrimination.
A principled customer.
Yes, right.
Yeah.
That uses past experiences and algorithms to determine the appropriate cause of action.
Sure.
Use past experience and algorithm to place blame on the wrong entity.
That's right.
Not the human that owns the animal, but
right.
the animal.
Right.
I'm sorry. It's the human. Every fucking time. All right.
You are a human.
Yeah, and my dog is perfect.
I don't know, man.
My dog is fucking perfect. Why are you arguing this point with me? My dog would never hurt a fucking fly, and there's no reason to discriminate against her breed because of that.
Her vagina leaked. That's not a perfect dog.
But it didn't hurt anything.
It hurt me emotionally.
I don't give
and
a
I got
fuck.
slightly aroused.
And right now I care even less about your emotions than I ever did before.
Damn.
And if she was perfect, she wouldn't have died.
There's
That's right.
absolutely no reason insurance companies should restrict against a breed.
Well, I don't know.
But the human.
Yeah.
The human.
Maybe.
What don't you know? Tell me what you don't fucking know about that.
I'm just cranking your hog, dude. I really don't give a shit. All dogs are retarded and they shouldn't be around.
Oh my god.
Are there insurance agencies that give a bias towards cats?
I don't know.
Fuck, I'm gonna look that up right now. Bro.
Yeah. Since you have two, right? Yeah.
Well, let me tell
all
you.
of a sudden.
Honestly, there should be. Cats suck.
Yeah.
It says
Have
here
one.
on the internet machine on Bing that there is no discrimination against breeds of cats at all, and they are the best things that you should ever do.
Okay. Well, I loved my cat too, but fuck you.
Me or cats?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
Shit. All right.
All right. State Farm for the win. There
That's
you go.
right.
Okay.
You're in good hands.
Tyler writes in, and by the way, he
It's
starts
like a
off-
good neighbor.
That's Allstate, dummy.
Everyone's hating on me right now.
Great marketing, though.
Yeah.
Everyone knows the
I can't
difference
imagine why
between
everyone's
the
hating on you,
slogans.
Mr. Dog
What's
Hater.
progressive slogan?
I'm an annoying
That
old
shit.
lady.
Yeah.
Remember Flo?
Yeah, that's the progressive one.
I hope they're
Ant
gonna
Flo.
do an ant flow. Like, come on, you gotta no. Okay.
No, they can't. No, they can't. I mean, I don't know if it's appropriate or not, but they just no.
One time a month, her outfit was red.
No, come on. We had to keep
No,
going.
they just have her
Warren.
sister come in with the baby. That's
See?
the Aunt
Oh.
Flo lady.
That's what just happened.
Just
No,
subtle
no.
humor.
that's
You
what
just
would
need
happen.
Very
subtlety.
subtle. Like
I
you
see.
would have to think about it for a whole day.
Yeah.
Warren wants to recreate the scene from Carrie, but he's
Yeah.
as subtle as a hammer.
All right, we're almost on an hour here. Tyler writes in, I don't have a whole lot to say at the moment. And then, by the way, he writes, then he writes three paragraphs.
Like the beginning of this show.
But I did want to comment on the guy that didn't see the Amazon link on your site. Oh, yeah, we already covered this. He had an ad blocker on, turn off the ad blocker, et cetera, et cetera. P.S. Screw the few people that have commented about Bevo not sending the shirts from the Twitter game or not sending them promptly. I won the Twitter game in April and received my shirt within a week. She deserves some credit for that. All right, that makes one of you.
Yeah, one time.
Also, let me just point out the guy that said he didn't get his shirt was the guy that won the book from Dick,
Oh,
I believe,
Dick
and that
Nelson.
never happened.
Okay.
And I've already arranged with this particular person that we're gonna work that out at HomebrewCon, so he can
Okay.
pump the brakes.
Okay.
So you're giving him a shirt because of his mistake?
No,
So
no,
you're
I'm
enabling
gonna
the behavior?
find Dick and get this book situation taken care of.
Oh, so he gets his book.
I don't
So
think Dick's at the HomebrewCon.
So Sam is going to.
He said it
HomebrewCon.
was. He said he was going. I don't know. Whatever. We'll figure it out. I don't care.
Yeah, I don't think that's happening. I think you're going to be disappointed again.
You just got
I'm not gonna
gaslit.
be.
PPS, I want to say suck at JP, but also feel like that time has passed and the BN has matured.
I agree.
That makes
Thank
me
you.
sad and happy at the same time.
Shit.
Mostly because it means that Lunch Meat is unlikely to come back, even after Sully has come back as a co-host. Okay.
Yeah. Well, those two things weren't related, but
Right.
Yeah, you're probably right.
What's this one? Hi, I've always downloaded the individual show MP3s from the web pages. It's the best option for me. Streaming is not reliable because my home connectivity is awful. But with the introduction of Megaphone, which is our new provider, that's true. The option appears to be missing.
Maybe I should have forwarded that to you instead of putting it in feedback. But I thought if there was an issue, it would be good to bring up.
Well, let's just have a look real quick.
A little looky-loo.
See if there's a download.
Pop the
link.
hood on this motherfucker and see what's up.
That's what happens when I click the Megaphone play button. It starts playing.
Yeah.
Or, yep, there it is. You just click the share button. So when you see that on the very link that you sent me, which, for example, was for the Virgin Beer Show, on the player, there's a new player there. It's pretty fancy looking, actually. I like it. There's a share button on the far left bottom. You click that, and then there's a download link. So you can download directly just like you always have.
Yeah, boy.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right.
Don't let that stop you.
That is all the feedback I have for today. But I did want to say one more time, I'm going to reiterate what I said the last time. Duke Cannon. You were talking about, paying attention to our bodies.
That's right.
And make
Skincare.
You have a skincare regime.
I do, as a matter of fact.
I've been using the Duke Cannon products. I gave some to Beardy. I don't know if he's used them yet.
Yeah, the beard wash.
You used the beard wash?
I did.
And
it made my beard feel very nice, full,
it looks
shiny,
more
sleek.
full than it's ever looked right now. And I didn't know if it's because you haven't cut it or you're fluffy.
No, it's extra poofy with the beard wash.
Just like you.
And it smells like a Hefeweizen.
Oh,
really?
That's the flavor. It says citrusy Hefeweizen.
Damn, dude.
And
come over here. Let me see.
Have you tried the Hef?
Come over here right now. I want to see if you smell like citrusy Hefeweizen.
Or like spaghetti from lunch.
I tell you, I've been using this stuff. Not the beard wash.
It's subtle.
Oh, but it's nicely subtle.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's pretty good.
That's what I'm gathering from what you were saying the last time. Like their products aren't overdone.
No, they're not. And that's what I like about them. You got the big ass brick of soap that I tell you I've been using, and that was like right now I come out smelling like a pine forest, which I really like.
You had sex with a pine tree.
Yeah.
All right.
Like I smell more masculine than I've ever.
More earthen.
And nice, really. By the way, you can go to Duke Cannon and use coupon code BREWING. You're going to get free shipping on your order over $35 and 15% off your first order if you use coupon code BREWING. I think you should get some for Bevo, for Sam, too, Bevo. He's not the best smelling guy I've ever smelled.
Dude, I've tried so many things for Sam.
Try this.
He washes his face and body with shampoo.
Okay, but this is like a giant bar of soap. He will like it. It's called a big ass brick of soap, and I feel like that alone will make him feel like, oh, I'll just use this.
Yeah.
It feels
He'll probably
more...
use that to wash his hair.
But shampoo,
fine.
What's wrong with shampoo's still soap?
Yeah.
It's fine. It cleans you. Doesn't mean you're like inbred or anything.
Yeah. JP, they gave me shaving cream. Do you want to try it?
Yeah, I do. I want
because I don't. I couldn't remember if I never remember if you have a beard or
sometimes
not. I can't
do,
remember if Teresa
don't.
have dreads. I can't remember.
It's actually the reverse, but yeah.
Okay.
Whatever you got, dude. I like trying stuff.
All right, go to DukeCannon.com and use coupon code BREWING. I think you won't be disappointed.
All right.
I wasn't. And I'm usually disappointed.
Well, you're very highly focused and in tune with the male body in general.
All
so
of a sudden.
you know specifically what is good for the male body.
I think that's, I guess.
think it's accurate, right?
It seems accurate. Yeah. I don't know why, but yeah.
He's been a male for quite a while.
That's true.
Yeah.
For 35 years.
Right.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, our guests who have been waiting, hopefully they're hammered.
Show, man.
We'll be back with East Brother Beer Company. Hang in there.
Hell yeah.
Some life was playing on a big stage, strumming all the right chords for a good mood. Down in the canyon, all through the night, 10,000 lives I've lived singing side by side. Why won't you let me break your heart and see the light of day drifting through the dark? And I know that everything is falling off. Maybe it's better to cope instead of fighting it. Why won't you let me break your heart and see the light of day drifting through the dark? I sipped my hurricane and waited for my thoughts to turn vicious. I kept quite calm and clever, but you got up to dance without me. Down in the canyon, all through the night, 10,000 lives I've lived singing side by side. Why won't you let me break your heart and see the light of day drifting through the dark? And I know that everything is falling off. Maybe it's better to cope instead of fighting it. Why won't you let me break your heart and see the light of day drifting through the dark? People started to leave, so I kissed your blushing cheek. Let's keep it good and simple. Let's keep it good and simple. Let's keep it good and simple. Let's keep it
Hello, this is David Walker from Firestone Walker Brewing Company. You are listening to The Session on the Brewing Network.
All right, welcome back to the program. Thanks for hanging out with us today. We're having a good time already. I got a Vienna Lager in my glass for the second time.
What?
Some of you listeners know what that means. If I do it twice before the guest even comes on, the beer's good. The beer's good. We've got East Brother Beer Company in the studio with us today. Paul Leszewski, he's the head brewer, and Rob Leitner. Rob, I didn't even ask what you are.
I'm one of the co-founders.
One of the co-founders, okay.
He's a human being.
Well, my shrink says we're human doings. Oh, wait, no, it's the opposite. He says we're human beings, not human doings. Anyway.
You're a human doing.
It's my little therapy session for you all. Well, thank you, folks. East Brother was supposed to be on the show with us last week, but I came into the studio, and our neighbor was jackhammering their floor and my patio, and I didn't want you listeners to have to listen to the rattling all the way through the podcast, so you two are very flexible, and I appreciate that.
No worries.
All the way from Richmond, California, which is, 20, 25 minutes from where we are here in Concord, right? Depending on the time of day that you drive here.
That's right. Pound traffic.
How long did it take you today? Did you pick a good time
About
to travel?
40 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad.
Little moderate time to travel.
Not terrible.
How long?
Highway 4 is a nice ride, you know.
Highway 4 is nice.
Yeah,
I live
scenic.
off of that, and it is, that's like, until you get to the Pittsburgh area, Highway 4 is a beautiful little drive right there. I remember I used to have to go to Richmond from here. Our listeners aren't going to give a shit about this, but what do I care? Before the Richmond Parkway existed. Y'all been around this area long enough to know that? Okay.
Yep.
That used to be gnarly. You'd have to go all the way down into Berkeley and Oakland and then up to Richmond.
Well, we're old
navigating
man
certain
status right
streets.
now.
Yeah, we really are, because Richmond Parkway has probably been there for 20 years now. I don't even know what.
When I was your guys' age.
Richmond. Oh, I mean,
The,
yeah. It's
the
been-
Parkway, just the Parkway.
Probably about
Richmond
that.
is Richmond is a very old historical city.
Oh, it's a great city, great industrial history. Yeah.
So why don't we dive into that just a little bit? But first, how long has East Brother been a brewery?
We opened in late 2016.
Okay.
Yeah.
Late 2016.
About 2.5 years.
Where are you from?
Oakland.
You're from Oakland originally, and Paul, where are you from?
Originally from Baltimore and San Francisco now.
Okay. How long you been living out in the Bay?
A little over 20 years, 23 something, give or take.
So you've been here a while.
Yes.
And Rob, in the area, how long you been here?
My whole life.
Your whole life.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So we can talk a little bit about like Richmond, right? Like we can say that since I've been living here, you know, Richmond has been through. It's had a lot of history. It had a sordid history. Partly, it's an industrial area. More than partly, really. Of course, you got the refineries there. You got a lot of warehouse district and industry, and then you've had some tough neighborhoods for a while too, right? I think it's okay to say all that, right?
Oh, yeah.
But it is one of those like last bastions of the Bay Area that has this opportunity to evolve.
Right.
Am I saying? Do you think I'm on the right track here?
Totally agree. That's one of the reasons we're there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, like, I know some other breweries who've thought about it too. Even I don't think he'd mind me saying, I know that Roger over at Faction even was down to had a building ready to go before he, I think, got a different deal in Alameda and decided there. There's a couple of you in Richmond now.
That's right. Yeah. Well, Armistice.
Armistice, who we've had on, yeah.
Yep.
You guys.
Yep.
Who else?
Well, there was Benoit Casper.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. And they've kind of wound it down
Mm-hmm.
recently. Which we're really bummed about because
Sure.
there is a lot of excitement in Richmond, a lot of great stuff going on, and it's on the front end of what we feel is a resurgence.
So what's changing? What is attractive about Richmond to you?
Well, we didn't look at that many places. We didn't really know where we were going to locate ourselves. And independently, Chris Coomber, my business partner, and he's the brewing side, I'm the business side.
Okay.
We independently drove around Richmond and came to the same conclusion, which was this place is freaking awesome. It's exactly what we want to do. I mean, I assume we'll talk about our beers at some point.
As
but like,
we- yeah, you bet.
Those are like the kinds of beers we're making and the kind of vibe we're trying to create, the branding, kind of the, sort of the understated nature of what we're trying to do. To us, Richmond just was a perfect fit for that. So the first thing was, it's a great location. We didn't really think much beyond that, but only after we got there did we realize there's a lot of really cool stuff happening in Richmond.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to read between the lines a little bit. And you mentioned your beer styles, and we're going to talk about that. You've got some classic styles. I've got your Vienna Lager in my glass, which we're going to talk about for sure because I'm loving it. Is it kind of a blue-collar environment that you were looking for that fits you as well? Is that part of what you're saying, that it's not this kind of, I don't know, hoity-toity or something? I'm trying to get this neighborhood fit that you're talking about.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you look at our branding, so we have this sort of two-tone color style, right?
Mhm.
It's supposed to be inspired by freighters. There's freighters that come like just a mile down the road from where we are into the port.
The tanker ships, the freighter ships.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah, and just the again sort of that understated nature of Richmond. Richmond historically has gone through years and years of tough times.
Yeah.
And it's not a city that sort of pounds its chest and says, "Come check us out."
No, you're right.
But it's on, as I said, we feel we're on the forefront of something. It's amazingly centrally located when you think about it.
It really is.
It's got the most coastline of any city in the Bay.
Yeah.
34 miles, 36 miles, something like that. Crazy. Beautiful coastline.
Yeah.
And unvisited. I would encourage you guys to go check some of it out. It's really neat.
Well, let's just take a minute to even talk about that just for our listeners, because you can go almost directly across the bay into Marin and San Rafael and their coastline, and immediately you're talking about some of the most expensive real estate on planet Earth. It's on the same bay.
Yep.
We're just talking on two different sides of the bay.
Yeah.
And this is part of how I think communities end up organized and even their history, right? So part of Richmond's history being that it's industrial, being that it's a port. There's no real port in Marin, right? And so there's a stigma that can come with that, right, over time. By the way, I'm not exaggerating. I have always, I think almost in my entire life, lived within 5 miles of a refinery. When I lived in Los Angeles, it wasn't just up here. My parents have a fucking affinity for refineries. I don't know what it is. And look how I turned out. It's fine. Point being, like, some of this stigma. So I'm just sort of giving our audience this picture because you're right. Over 30 miles of coastline, the same coastline as Marin has, which is not, by the way, speckled with refinery, and yet still it might be slower to develop in a residential or community format because of industry, right?
Yeah, but there's a lot of undeveloped area, Point Malate being one of those, which has been subject to lawsuits for years, and the city and developers, and things are just settling down now, and there's a time limit around developing it, but it's north of the Richmond Bridge.
Okay.
And again, no one ever goes to it. Again, encourage you guys to
I want to go
check out
see it.
Point
Yeah,
Malate.
I've never been.
It's super cool. There's tons of open space. There's something called Wine Haven, which was the biggest wine sort of distribution center in pre-Prohibition times. And
Okay.
of course, Prohibition killed that, but it's this beautiful, giant brick castle, essentially.
No kidding.
Yeah, if you come across from west to east across the Richmond Bridge, you can see it. But they're figuring out what should we do with it.
And no one even knows about this.
Exactly. There's a lot of really kind of undiscovered stuff going on in Richmond.
Okay. All right. And then we can't discount, I mean, I have to ask, you probably also got a better space at a better price than you might have, obviously, in San Francisco, Paul. That would have been ridiculous. But even most of the places in the Bay Area.
I think so, although, honestly, we did not even look in any other cities.
Oh, is that right?
We never even, price compared. We just, we looked at a bunch of different places in Richmond, found a place that we love. It's up against this hillside, Miller Knox Regional Park.
Okay.
It's beautiful. There's wild turkeys out there. There's frogs. There's, croaking in the wintertime when it rains. It's kind of magical.
Okay.
Yeah, so the tap room has turned out better than we thought. More people come than we thought would come.
Okay.
But yeah, fundamentally though, it was like, where can we get a nice big warehouse, 25-foot ceilings, 12,000 square feet. The building is, I think, over 100,000. So we're only one unit in the warehouse.
But you're already 25,000 square feet.
Sorry, 12.
Okay,
yeah.
12.
Yeah, 12,000.
Teresa, what's your? I always need a perspective.
So
seen
my
Crooked
tap
Lane.
room, everything in my building is 5,000 square feet.
Okay, got
and
it.
the brewery is like 2,200 square feet, 2,500 square feet.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, we've got about half the space allocated to brewing now between the
I
brew
am
house and the cellars.
Super jealous.
But room,
I would love to have that room.
But room to grow, or is
Yeah.
the other 100,000 feet already used up by everybody else?
Our landlord, we have a great
got
relationship
room to
with
go,
him, and he
okay.
said, "Look, if you guys ever need something, let me know. We'll figure something out." But we still have room within our
Sure.
existing footprint.
So that's the first, maybe your second smart move, picking Richmond and then picking that, because a lot of breweries we talk to, they come on here and they're like, yeah, we just didn't plan to grow. Now we have to move across town. Growth just happened faster than we thought. So, all right, let's come back to that in a second. I want to come back to the community and where you are, but I want to talk about this beer first, because we have two in our glass that everybody has, but I have to just talk about the Vienna.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Teresa.
it's fabulous.
You like it, right?
Yeah.
It's
If this was all there was, I would be super happy.
It's so to style. It's so. Here's a dumb thing to say. It's so much better than Negro Modelo, which I enjoy. But it's so much more craft.
Yeah, because it has more body, I think, to it. I think Negro Modelo can be a little thinner at times.
Yeah.
And I think maybe that's the main difference, I guess, in craft versus macro, or independent versus macro, whatever we're supposed to be using right now.
Yeah.
There's more you can call it flavors.
Flavors.
You know what I mean? There's more presence to it. There's more oomph to it, but not in an overwhelming way.
Yeah.
And not in a way that will tire your palate out.
Mm-hmm. Well, like I was saying before you guys were in here, I was trying to describe to JP like toffee, mild roast, like nutty roast. Just a great beer. Tell us about the beer, Paul. Like what? Give it the malt bill. I want everything. Give us the whole thing.
Well, we do go after following kind of classic styles. It's got a little bit of Munich, Vienna, some chocolate, walk some see something or other by it, and some Pilsner. All Mittelfru, Hallertauer Mittelfru hops.
Mm-hmm.
And it's for us, it's all about lagering and letting the beer do its thing, giving it time. Don't rush things. We're cold lagering, so it's a full 6 week profile from kettle to keg, to package.
Wow.
For us. So
how dare you do it like that?
Right.
How dare you let it sit like it's supposed to?
Yeah.
But it really, I mean, I'd like to think that I can tell. We take a similar approach to some of our lagers, and just having those German ingredients just gives it that classic flavor. It really shows.
Yeah.
The,
makes it really
the time
authentic.
and patience and.
Yeah. Even ours that we did, I think I was mentioning to y'all before the show, we did a collaboration with Sierra, and we did a Vienna, and we had to mess with it a little bit, so we put some more new school stuff into it, and it was not quite as authentic as this. It was even a little sweeter, I think, Beardy. I don't know if you remember, but this one is not sweet, but full of that chocolate malt comes through in a lot of different ways.
Yeah, we're really happy with it for a beer that's less than 5% and still packed with a lot of flavor and something you can really drink all day and not think twice about. You're going to buy a 4-pack, and before you know it, they're all gone.
Right.
So
this beer.
Go ahead.
This beer, especially when you get to the darker side of Vienna lagers, it's a really delicate balance between the hop bitterness and the whatever little amount of roasted grain astringency that you can get, and your water chemistry. And I was going to ask how long this beer has been around, because if it's your first time, you just nailed it right out of the gate.
Or you've tweaked.
Yeah. Or if it's not, then how long did it take to kind of dial it in?
Chris, our founding brewer, spent a lot of times developing the recipes with Rob and many iterations. I came in a year after they opened, so I inherited the recipes and just make sure they're executed as expected and produce really clean, smooth beer.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've been brewing this since day one, but as Paul said, previous to that, it had been brewed for years.
Like on
a lot of
a
years and a lot of
home brew scale.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And in our market, this is not the most popular style of beer, but you're saying that in your market or your community, is this something that does very well for you?
Yeah, it's definitely one of the more popular beers in
Really?
the tap room.
I'm proud of Richmond for that right now.
That's great.
It goes with a lot of food.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
We found, in distribution, it tends to get carried at restaurants because it goes, Pils goes with everything, in my opinion. But Vienna Lager also, there's a little more character, richness, as you guys said, it's kind of nuttiness, toffee, things like that. So I think it matches up, but also complements food very well because it'll cut bigger, bolder, greasier foods, right?
Yeah.
So and in distribution, we often hear, I got 800 IPAs, but I do not have a red lager.
And
I
they
will take
was
that.
really.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think it fills a niche.
Okay.
The pendulum swinging back.
Yeah.
I love it. I'm going to get back behind that pendulum and just give it a shove.
Right.
We're helping.
I mean, I guess.
Thank you.
I'm a little surprised by that a distributor might say something like that. Not entirely, but so Jamil, I talked to Jamil more about beer than anybody, and so he was is always an example for me. And his flagship beer was Evil Twin, right? This hoppy red, and did not make an IPA for a while. And so on one hand, as you're saying, a distributor might say, "Oh, we don't have a hoppy red right now." But the distributor just kept begging him to do an IPA. Just please, please, please do an IPA.
Like not a red IPA,
no,
but
just
a
an
plain
IPA.
old IPA.
Yeah. And so, and I don't know if it was on principle or whatever. But finally, of course, he ended up putting out Evil Cousin, right?
Right.
But for a while, they still were just like, "Give me another IPA, give me another IPA." And you're saying, "Hey, keep giving us this Vienna," which is nice.
Yeah, it's. I mean, it feels like it's a little bit of a, it's. I think it's complementary.
Okay.
Do you guys have an IPA?
Yes, we do. Yeah.
Oh, that's too bad.
That's why they're still in business.
I know. Yeah, I know.
And a hazy IPA.
We don't have a hazy.
Wow, some love.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to say anything, but you asked me, so.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then they're like, it's in the fermenter guy now. It's not. But no, you just haven't gone that route yet.
Lots of refrain.
Yeah.
No, everyone's doing hazy, and we don't need another.
Okay.
You know, there's 1,000 breweries in California right now, and
yeah,
1,400 hazies. We don't need to be 1,401
Do people ask you? Do you get customers coming in and be like, "Hey, what do you have that's hazy?"
all the time.
And what do you tell them?
Yeah. What's the answer?
Well, we've got a red IPA, we've got a gold IPA, and we've got a double IPA.
Yeah.
So try one of those.
Yeah.
Sure.
But also, you know, they ask about other things. They ask about a saison. They ask about a hef. I mean, you know, we have actually a pretty limited lineup when you think about it, because we focus so much on the 5 core that we have, which is, you know, the red lager, the Bo Pills, which are here, oatmeal stout, and then 2 IPAs. Basically, the double is really just a seasonal that we did. We could tell you about those, but, yeah.
Do you focus on those so as not to just get convoluted with your own selves, or to focus on what you can do in the tap room and what you can do distribution, and not fill your tanks with like one-off stuff?
Yeah, it's really been from the days of homebrewing. Is really like let's focus on a limited number of things and do them very well.
Mm-hmm.
There's plenty of you know, beer of the day out there, and that's great. Like
Yeah.
I like going to those places. Hey, what do you have that's new? And oh, that's interesting and whatever. But I don't know. There's some maybe. I mean, Chris and I are a little older. You know, we've got kids
Yeah.
in, you know, college and out of college. So
Right.
We just I don't know. We remember those days of flagship beers, and
Yeah.
that still is a thing. And when you look at the total volume of beer sold in this country and around the world, it's a certain style of beer.
Yeah.
It's, you know, it's lager, it's pilsner. So there's something to us that's interesting about that, and doing kind of the same thing and doing a fewer number of things very well,
Yeah.
as opposed to trying something new all the time. It's just not. We don't have anything against that approach at all, but that's
Sure.
not.
You're just
really,
taking a different
that's not
one.
our style. Yeah.
There's a beer writer, and he's going to hate me when I see it next, that I can't remember his name right now. He's been doing this for a while.
Jay
Not
Brooks.
Jay. Not Jay. Not Jay. He's a J equivalent. He's been there for a while. Anyhow, forgive me when I see you. He wrote an article about flagship beers, and it was kind of saying, how come we don't have a flagship beer day?
That wasn't Jeff Allworth, was it?
No, but
thought
he's kind of saying, look, we have IPA day. We have, I don't know what else, we have all the days, right? And he was kind of saying we really should have flagship day and he made several arguments that we all know in this room. One of them is the one that you've just made, that, you know, if you can make a core group of beers really well, you should. The other one was, of course, that it's very difficult to stay in business if you have to make the beer of the day, as you called it. That flagship beers are what invented Sierra Nevada. It's what invented Lagunitas, you know, people who even came later. And that he was writing to consumers. He wasn't writing to those of us who are in the industry. He was writing to consumers that, like, hey, don't forget, the industry actually exists today because of the flagship beer movement before it.
Mm-hmm.
And even though, you know, that might not support every brewery nowadays, it still supports most of them, you know? Firestone is a flag, you know, it might not be their original flagship beer.
Stephen Beaumont.
But Beaumont, thank you. Stephen, I apologize. Forgive me. I thought it was a great article pointing this out, that, and it'll come back. It'll come full circle. And hopefully enough breweries can hang on, you know, through the flagships suck era.
Jay Brooks actually did a flagship appreciation month.
Oh, he did? Okay,
yeah.
okay.
Where each day he was posting.
Based
on that Beaumont's
They're friends.
thing.
That might have happened.
Yeah. And I mean, and I read it, and I didn't buy into it too much because, I mean, flagships were flagships because everyone was drinking them, not because they were pushed as flagships, right?
You're right. But it's the business model that works. And, in fact, works so well that we have a craft beer industry because of it.
Sure, but now flagships are the new IPA because that's what everyone's drinking. So, I don't know if flagships necessarily are, and obviously I don't know shit from anything, but I don't know if flagship is even still a usable term marketing wise or even internally. I mean, I don't know if breweries are even focused on that. And core, you talk about your core beers, but even that's not one, that's 5, and you can kind of split the difference there a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, I think one of the things that could be kind of sad for the future is if nobody does flagship beers anymore, like how are you ever going to hone that beer and make it the best it can be? You know, make it the best beer of that style that you could ever produce. If you don't go back, if you don't look back, you're always looking forward and trying to do something new and different.
Yeah.
You know.
And I think, JP, when I say flagship, I'm using that, I guess, a bit interchangeably with core, because I think you make a good. I think you make a good point. I'm not talking about Sierra Pale Ale.
Yeah,
and
to
that's
me,
it.
flagship is one.
Yeah. I guess I'm using core and those interchangeably.
Okay. I accept your apology. It's fine.
And Teresa, I think you're right. Like that allows, like you got. Okay, let's just move on to the Bo Pills as we're doing this.
Hell yeah.
You've got that one dialed in too. I'm going to say right
Wait,
now.
you've tasted it before us?
I did. Sorry.
Rude as hell. Dude.
Because I'm a good interviewer, I got to be ready for the next. I got to be ready for the next moment.
Those are 3-pack cans we get sent, right?
Yeah. So, I've never had your beer before today. I have not had your beer. Bevo often just books, and sometimes I'll have it ahead of time, and sometimes I won't. And I'm mad at myself that I haven't tried your beer yet. The Bo Pills is also stellar. You guys have dialed this.
Very
in.
good.
This is probably, I like the Vienna a lot. I like this over that.
You like the Bo Pills more than the Vienna?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Me too.
It's crisp. The hop flavor is there.
It's
Little
like
firm bitterness, that perfumey malt kind of thing that sort of reminds me, and some people might take this as a negative, but for me, I think it's positive. It's like suntan lotiony,
but
in a good, like,
that's the perfumey,
vibrant way.
Yeah, floral.
And that's kind of what I look for in the Bo Pills that I enjoy, is that kind of like hop malt character that plays well together, and the esters from the yeast. It's just the whole thing. It's very good.
It is.
I appreciate this beer immensely.
Yeah,
I really do.
Thank you.
And the firm bitterness is it kind of ramps up. And I keep waiting for it to keep going, and it's like you used AI to make it happen or something, because it stops at the perfect fucking point. It you take the sip and you get all of the floral and sweetness of the malt, and then the bitterness starts to ramp up, and I'm like, uh-oh, here it goes, and then it just stops.
It's like if David Carradine could have had that restraint, he would still have the greatest actor of our day.
You guys should be proud of this beer. Yes. If he could have just unbuckled.
Yeah. Wait for it and accept
it hit me.
I will kiss fight anybody for the remainder of this beer. This is really good.
There's more. Tell us about this one, Paul.
Pretty straightforward recipe. All Pilsner malt with just a little bit of carapils for some head retention, and then Teton Steering Aurora.
Okay.
So probably a little bit later hopper, later additions in the boil for the bitterness and some flavor. It's probably not exactly true to style, but people like it.
But no dry hopping?
No dry hopping.
Okay.
No dry hopping.
Aurora, is that a German strain?
Czech, Styrian Aurora.
Okay, got it. Yeah.
What are you guys doing for water?
Richmond water with just some salts added to it.
Okay. You're not removing anything. It's just Richmond water out of the tap, just a little bit of adjustment.
Yeah, a little bit of adjustment. Carbon filter, nothing.
Okay.
Nothing crazy.
Not RO here.
No.
Yeah.
Is the Richmond water that good? What, or do you know what it kind
It's coming from Hetchy, so.
Oh, okay. So it's
we
fine.
Import our water from Germany.
That's interesting to me. Richmond water is Hetchy water.
Just like San Francisco.
Yeah, but it's across the bay. That surprises me.
San Francisco is also across the bay from Hetchy.
It is? Where's Hetchy?
New York.
Well, Hetchy's Yosemite.
Yeah.
Right. So
Oh, I didn't realize that. I thought it was closer. I thought it was in like the peninsula area.
East Bay mud, East Bay water comes from from multiple sources, as I
Got
understand
it.
it. So
Okay.
there's
So
some,
we do
there's
get some East Bay mud.
Oh, seasonally?
Yeah.
Okay. A little blend. All right. So,
but it's good. We looked when we moved in, and we were we tested it pretty extensively and felt pretty damn good.
Yeah.
Wait, let me just clarify, because I would have done what you just said, which you said you looked when you moved in. Did you look before you moved in?
We did not.
You did not look before, which is what I would have done too.
Yeah.
That's interesting to me. And I would have done that because I feel like I'm slow.
Well, we had in the back of our mind, okay, we might need to do some sort of big, gyration in the water category, but it turns out,
So you just figured you're going to deal with it either way.
we're gonna figure it out.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Nice. It's working in this beer, too.
Man.
How do you achieve this clarity? Is it fining, filtering, lagering?
Lagering and filtering, but
you filter.
Honestly, by the time we filter this, it's almost you feel like you're wasting your time with the filter. But it does make it last a lot longer on the shelf and keeps it really bright and bright beer.
Mm-hmm. So no fining, just lagering, and then actually run it through like a plate filter.
DE filter.
A DE filter. Okay. It is brilliantly
so beautiful.
Yeah, they all are
clear. Yeah, the Vienna too. That's right. And this also will be in a tank for 6 weeks before it ever gets out of there. Yeah,
absolutely.
What yeast on this?
German lager yeast.
Okay, same as in the Vienna.
Mm-hmm.
So with the floral notes in this, none of that's yeast driven. That's hops and malt.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah.
Man, if I had a brewery, I would just bullshit. Oh, it's cow ale.
Yeah, and how do you do that?
How do you, well, it's proprietary. I don't really want to talk about it. I don't want to get into it too much, but sort of what we do is we just pray to Satan around the tank,
right?
And that's what he provides.
I guarantee.
The Dark Lord provides.
I guarantee that has happened on this show before.
Yep,
Somebody has just said, "Oh, it's just Cal," and they're totally lying.
Yeah, for sure. I would agree with you.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you have other house strains? Like, so you have this lager strain.
Yeah, we have the lager strain, and then we have an ale strain. Sorry, and then for the specialties, I may branch out into some other strains and just kind of give me something new to play with, and give the tap room something new to drink, and whatnot. So,
Are you messing with that Quebec yeast or whatever? That's like the new hotness now.
Funny you asked.
Funny you asked that. We well, Chris Cohen and I go back into our homebrewing days with SF Homebrewers Guild.
Yeah.
But we just ran a pilot system, a pilot batch, more beer, flat sculpture.
Oh, nice.
So we'll probably be in the tap room either this weekend or next. But
okay, awesome.
Did you do a IPA with that one?
No, we did a saison-ish.
Like a saison.
Yeah,
That'd
we
be
just
good.
kind of let it see how hot it could go.
Well, and
let it rip.
just let it make the beer that it wants to make. And
Yeah, unfortunately, we brewed it on a Friday, so by the time we got in Monday, it was done. So we didn't really see how hot it went. But
there was just scorch marks like all around the fridge.
Yeah.
I like your style though. You guys aren't over there working 24/7. Put it in on Friday. Come back to work on Monday.
Try, one of my assistant brewers lives in Point Richmond, and we found him because he was a regular in the tap room, and
nice.
Was looking for something new to do, and we hired him, and now I have someone who can go check gravities and CO2 levels on the weekends, and
I really mean it as a
whatnot.
kudos. I mean, there's not a whole lot of work-life balance that we hear in this studio from breweries, so I meant that as like a compliment.
How big is the main system?
We're a 20-barrel brew house.
Okay.
We got 5 20-barrel fermenters and 5 60-barrel fermenters, and a little random assortment of right tanks.
Okay.
Right now.
So is it just mainly the two of you then on the production floor?
I do have a brewer who is basically a shift brewer. He's brewing, and I still get up on the deck from time to time, especially if we have double brew days. We don't want to burn out our brewer, and I've done my share of doubles, and makes really long weeks and me really grouchy.
Rob never noticed.
No, not
I just walk like
Did he see me? Did he see me?
Right. And then these beers you're serving us today are in cans. I think we were talking at the break that you guys are just putting in a canning line too.
Yeah, we just bought a really fat canning line, actually.
Nice.
Deep house, 6-head filler with a little bit of the leads into a packing area.
Okay.
We can eventually get a pack tech, but right now we've
Hand
got
packing.
assistant brewers and brewers to put pack techs on, and taproom folks. We've been really happy. We ran it Thursday. We ran 200 plus cases, and a lot faster than I thought. I brought a lot of equipment online, and I was running it at the maximum speed to the point that the trainer was like, "That's too fast."
Wow.
So
and you're like, no,
no,
yeah.
this is good.
I feel the need. We're ready for speed and a
No
lot
one
more
is
cans.
no one is talking. It's all asses and elbows. If I can make it go faster,
Yeah.
Oh my God, I love this. Even saying that part, I'm starting to learn about you already.
Yeah, just push everybody just enough to the limit where they shut the fuck up and actually work.
Yeah.
But not so hard that they get overworked or lose a finger.
And leave. Yeah.
You'll get a weekend.
Well, we
but
can't
shut
have them
up.
quit at 10 o'clock in the morning when we have like 400 cases to run. But,
Right.
yeah,
but the silence is deafening.
Yeah, for sure.
yeah.
You're a programmer. That your background before your previous life was as a programmer.
Yeah, I spent almost 20 years in Silicon Valley doing software development, part of the whole .bomb era.
Okay.
And
So you missed the fleece vest movement.
no, I had to laugh when I saw that. Because then you start noticing, you're like, wow, there are a lot of fleece vests around here.
Wow.
You know, I do remember back in, late 90s and the knots that, there were so many startups that, they would start up and fail. And then all of a sudden you would see whatever.com on all the homeless people all through the city, and you're like, oh, that would have been great free advertising if they planned that better. But
oh man, I'm so sure that there's a bunch of Brewing Network merch on the homeless in Concord too, because we've had some runs of clothing that just didn't make it.
There's tribes somewhere just wearing.
And I'm telling you, I have dropped them at the Goodwill, and I keep just waiting to see that, and I'm just going to be like, I don't know if I'll be proud or I haven't decided.
To be completely honest, when I was
decided.
moving and I had some old Brewing Network shirts and even more beer shirts, I hesitated to give them to the Goodwill Salvation Army because what I didn't want to do, for some reason in my mind, the weird scenario would be where somebody who's not a listener or somebody would see the shirt and then you specifically would go, hey man, thanks for listening to the show, and they would go, who are you? I'm trying to enjoy my linguine.
I'm trying to smoke crack.
Get out of here. And then you would come back to me specifically because you knew somehow that I gave the thing away, and then you would yell at me.
Wow, you thought I went down the same path, not as far as you, but I was like, gosh, do I really give these away? I'll be disappointed if I see them on a non-listener.
All your concerns are valid because there was a time in high school I found a shirt from my history teacher who was also the basketball coach. He gave away one of his coaching shirts that had his name embroidered on the shirt.
You can't do that.
And I found it at the Goodwill.
And you bought it. Tell me you bought it.
I bought it and wore it to his class.
Yeah. Good call.
Troll that motherfucker.
Oh, man.
Good call.
When anybody asked a question of him, did you answer it?
Right.
Yes, right
Excuse
here.
me. Yeah.
I got this, Jim.
Yeah. I showed up to the next game and just stood behind the bench the whole time.
So tell me about how
wouldn't work anymore
your
'cause of the
programming
beard.
background helps you now. Because I'm imagining you around this new canning line, for example, and probably several other things where you can, I don't know if you're thinking in ones and zeros, but you can like figure this stuff out a little better.
I can answer that question. Spreadsheets.
Spreadsheet. Oh, spreadsheet
awesome.
master?
Oh, God.
Paul?
I
So good.
seriously saw him working on a spreadsheet
In the
before he
studio?
was, yes, right now on his phone.
Paul, the spreadsheet master.
Yeah, I started in quality assurance and ended up in project program management. So Microsoft PowerPoint and they don't make it for
Excel,
Mac,
but-
project and
Sure.
everything. So I do everything in Excel and it works for me. And it's
It probably works for those around you too. Not that everyone can create those things, but I do think that once you get your team on board with some formal functionality like that, some formal project management, everyone is able to communicate better, right?
Yeah, and it's for my production team, it's been helpful for them. We're tracking fermentation log. Have a fermentation log, and I can talk all day. And oh, you want a really drastic slope on your fermentation. You want it done, and until you see it graphically represented, it's really hard to picture. But they can also go back and this bow pills look like this, and we're in the same line as this, so it's going well. For me, it's all about organizing, your resources. You have ingredients, you have, people power, But everything costs money, so you're always trying to balance those things. When I deal with Rob, he gets a heavy dose of how much do we have, how much does it cost, and all that. My team doesn't need to see that. They just need to know, how many half barrels, how many sixtils, how many cases, what the brew schedule, and
that's a good point. So we've had, some of the best brewers come in here and talk about data collection, right?
Mm-hmm.
Vinny always talks about data collection. Matt Brennelson was just talking about that. But you're talking about data analysis, too, and in a clear way, not just for you, not just for the two of you to sit up in an office and analyze, but for your team.
Yeah.
Like you said, to graphically see how fermentation should look. I think that's an important factor, too, not just collecting all this stuff, but then understanding it.
Yeah, understanding what's going on and, when you're packaging something, making the realization, I left that valve open for 3 seconds. Well, that 3 seconds was 15 gallons.
Wow, yeah.
A half barrel. And then they start thinking about, I'm going to hold them to it. You had 20 barrels in that, in that bright tank. How come you only got 16 and a half? Where did that go? So they can start thinking about it. And
Sure. And to me, that's not even you being a stickler. That's just saying, look, guys, we have the data. Let's understand what it means.
Mm-hmm.
And that did cost us a keg. That was a keg.
Yeah.
So I think that's important.
Yeah. Or if you waste, 3 cases getting your canning line up and fired and running, well, that can make it really hard to make up for the rest of the cases. So
for sure.
Okay. We're small. Right now we're, when I interact with sales folks and stuff, is we're still too small to be big, and we're too big to be small. So we're in this kind of weird gray area. And
the most crucial area probably to figure out what you're going to be.
Yeah, and the decisions we make today are going to impact our growth and ability to continue making more and more beer and expansion and all that.
Well, we've hit that threshold where you have to figure out what to do next. Like, our chiller's too small. We need a bigger chiller. Now the farmer who used to pick up our spent grain, he can't take it anymore.
Yeah.
So, like those sorts of things. Now what do we do?
And these numbers really count now. Like even when you were opening, okay, well, a fermenter costs this, and we need it because it fits that, and the brew system is like this, and we need it because it fits that. Okay, but now your decisions are a little more weighted, right? Like you have to decide, okay, this next thing costs 20 grand. Right? And that might get us by for 6 months. Or are we going to spend 40 and get by for 2 years? Right? Like that's kind of this moment you're at, right? Like you really got to figure these things out.
Which is why we got the depalletizer and the 6-head.
Yeah.
On the canning line, right?
Yeah, like this is tough. And I don't know. I'm sort of, well, I think you guys are on the right track, obviously, but I don't envy you, but I think, it's a crucial point in most brewers' lives. And we've had a lot of brewers come in here that have made, I don't want to say the wrong decisions, but tough ones, because they've done something, and 6 months later, they got to revamp again.
Mm-hmm.
Not that you guys are immune to that, right? But that's a tough scenario where you're at. You might go, well, this is probably what our growth is. And then you come on the Brewing Network and boom!
That's what usually happens.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, Tuesday's going to suck,
definitely
isn't
going
it?
through that right now.
10
Scary.
years from now, you're going to ask us to revamp your Bo Pills and rebrand it.
Yeah. Scary moment. Scary moment. I do have to get us to break, but we got to talk about the Maibach quickly.
Okay.
And also another great beer, but I have to admit, if you guys are selling a lot of the style Maibach, you're either lying to me or something magical is happening in fucking Richmond. Because there's nothing sexy about Maibach and craft beer right now.
Yeah.
It's a great beer. You guys, this is another great beer of yours. Very estery, I think I would call this one, which we should talk about. But are you selling a lot of Maibach?
Well, you got to keep in mind so we've got the 5 core. In 2017. That's what we started with. In 2018, we said, let's do something to address the need for what do you have that's new.
Okay.
So we kind of doubled down on our lagers, and we introduced the lager series.
Cool. Okay.
And the lager series is comprised of the Maibach. I think we did a Baltic Porter first, then we did a Maibach.
Okay.
We did a pre-prohibition lager. And
Can we
a
just
Fest-
put a fine point on how hilarious it is that a lager series is like a new thing or a
Right?
thing?
I know.
I mean, I love that it is, but how funny is that?
You do 6 lagers?
Yeah, oh my God. It's a lager. And people will go talk about it. They're like, they have a lager series. Have you heard of that?
Yeah. What's
Well,
a lager
exactly,
series?
Right? Like, have you ever heard of another brewery other than
No.
obviously Macro Brews doing
Exactly.
lager series, right? So we thought, that's going to be kind of cool.
Yeah.
And how many lagers are there that people know? Maibach, No, they don't know it, and we're not selling a lot of it. But the good thing is, we only do one batch. So we have the 20-barrel system. We'll do one batch. A good chunk of that will go through the tap room. We'll can some, we'll keg some, and it'll go out to distribution. And pretty much, you can get rid of 20 barrels fairly easily.
Okay.
We've got enough, accounts that are good friends and like our beer, and they'll educate their customers and push whatever we make, basically. So in the case of Maibach, that's
okay.
So you're right.
I'm glad
Nobody's
you were
heard of
honest. But a great beer. I was merely talking about the style, listeners, just so you know. It's just not one of those things where like, oh my God, I've been looking for a Maibach. It just doesn't, but a very traditional Maibach. Talk to me about the estery profile. Is that a different yeast or
Cal Ale?
It's a Vermont IPA that we fermented 0C for 12 weeks, and then we top it off with Quebec and some enzymes.
Obviously.
Dry hop with Galaxy and Centennial.
Brewing is more science than...
Talk
than
slowly so we can write that down.
Yeah.
So the original Maibach, it was actually, we switched lager yeast a year ago. So the original Maibach we did a year ago was much more of like a fest beer, Oktoberfest yeast. This one, as you're growing and, I like to pick weird styles that no one else is doing because then no one has something to compare you to. You're like, well, I've never had a Maibach. It's pretty good.
Right. I can only think of Gordon Biersch right now.
No.
And you're right. That's more of a fest beer, Maibach. So I'm glad you even made that distinction. This one is not a fest beer, Maibach.
Yeah, this is, this is kind of a traditional spring beer. So when the Catholics got done Lent, they wanted to drink, good solid 7-8%, lager that's been sitting in a cave for the winter and, time to drink. This one, I believe, was Styrian Aurora and some middle fruit, obviously Pilsner. I forget if it was Munich or Vienna that I used. But, I definitely didn't want to go, even with our fest beer in the fall. I like to keep them kind of bright and light colored. And
as you did. But still down at low lager temperatures for the ferment? It's not like you raised it up at all for that?
Nope.
Nothing different there?
Nope. This one we do let rise, from basically a cold start all the way up to derest. We kind of just keep bumping the temperatures up as it goes versus our regular lagers where it's more of a step.
Okay.
We hit a milestone, and then there's the project management or me.
I like it. That's all right.
Triggers an event. We rest of derest. This one, once we start seeing action, we'll start to ramp it up a degree or two every day until we hit derest, and that's probably producing a little bit more of the esters that you're picking up.
In a good way. I like them there.
I like the kind of lighter versions of these beers. Too many times you get a lot of them that are just kind of sweet and heavy and blah, but this is not that.
I think that the esters in this take place of the sweet and heavy that others will have to get that character. This stays dry and German lager-like, but fills in the gap with esters is what I was saying. And then, by the way, it might not all be esters. It might also be just some of the floral yeast you're using, too.
Yeah. If Shimke posted a photo of this beer, how many likes do you think she would get?
8. Wait, Shimke on our network or hers?
Well, either, I guess, for comparison.
Double on hers.
Yeah.
If she puts, her hands in it or her face in it or I don't know what.
Yeah.
Half if she puts your face in it.
Oh, less than half.
Well, I think
half of our half that we would have gotten.
Right, yeah. If it was just the beer, it would be half of her post.
Let's just do an A/B test and let's figure it out. Let's see.
A/B test.
A/B test. My face on your friggin' stupid network.
What if it gets more? She'll be disappointed if it gets more likes than her.
I will license my likeness to her.
All right, I'm going to get us to a break because I'm having a good time. We got more to talk about. We've got a couple more beers to try.
I'm going to get us to a break. I'm having a good time and I don't want to be.
Yeah.
So let's
interrupt that right.
If I do that, we'll be here till 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
All right, hang in there. You're listening to East Brother. I keep doing that. East Brother Beer on the session. We'll be right back.
This is Corey King from Side Project Brewing, and you're listening to The Session on the Brewing Network.
All right, welcome back. Thanks for hanging out with us. We are still hanging out with East Brother Beer Company from Richmond, California. You can go to eastbrotherbeer.com if you want to learn more about them there. They got a great website, all sorts of content on there, so you can find out more about the things that we're talking about here over there. Now, we got more beer in our glass, and Paul, you kind of mentioned it before the break too, and I was reading it in my notes, that you kind of like odd styles, you like historical styles, you like to research and then make historical styles. It sounds like Maibach is kind of one of those. Can you give me any other examples of these like odd historical styles you've gone into?
Sure. So part of our lager series is a pre-prohibition lager. I come from home brewing, and as you kind of make a conscious decision that I want to be pro, you want your beers to be drank. So I was always looking for something different and new. So I did a pre-pro porter years ago. And
I've never had one of those.
It's basically for me it boils down to 6-row corn, and then that one is you add some dark malts to give it the color, and
no 2-row.
No 2-row. So when I like to go back, research, what ingredients were available at the time, what possibly might have they been using, and try to keep it, close to that. I'm not going for like a true authentic,
Okay.
It's 1932, and this is the
which you
lager
wouldn't know
guy.
anyway, I guess, what it tasted like, but you're making your best guess. Or
Yeah,
something.
exactly.
Okay.
The funny thing is when we first did the pre-pro lager, and I ordered the hops, the Country Mall or whoever it was called me up, and they're like, "You said cluster, right?"
Did you do this?
They checked
because the box was really close to Centennial, and I don't know if you checked the wrong one.
Yeah. You wanted cluster, right? And I was
Wow.
like, "Yeah, absolutely." And they're like, "Great,
Nice.
They'll be there in 2 days."
Are you sure you don't want more?
Yeah.
They hung
give
up
you
and they're
a
like,
great
"We
price.
got him!"
Yeah, sucker!
Fuck that guy! They hit a bell and shit. They had a party.
Right. Just one guy, Janet, over in the corner, has been trying to sell cluster for a year.
Yeah.
And April got it.
Yeah. Restrooms are for winners.
Yeah. Wait, what else in a pre-pro lager? Like, what's the malt bill on that? What's different there?
It's just raw. No, I don't think it's even raw. I don't think they make a 6-row, but it's a 6-row.
It is a 6,
and flake maize.
Interesting. Okay. How that became American light lager is just fascinating to me, right? Because so it's sort of, we had these kind of German style lagers in America, though, and they were American, but influenced and in many cases made by German descendants, right?
Yeah.
Then we have Prohibition. Then it comes back, and all of a sudden it's like in bulk, right? And we start to cheapen things. So to me, that's fascinating too. How does 6-row base malt react differently in fermentation to 2-row?
3 times as much.
Yeast sugar is sugar, so they're not really differentiating. Oh, that's a 6-row.
So it's not like there's more unfermentable sugars, I guess. I always had this impression that like 6-row would have more dextrinous sugars that can't be.
There's probably a little bit more proteins. The one cool thing is when we do these series, I get to experiment with our brew house, and if it's ends up being a 12-hour brew day, we're only doing it once a year. That's okay, ish.
Yeah.
I remember like 15, 20 years ago, Budweiser was having marketing around their 6-row, and they said a little bit of 6-row added for snap.
A little snap.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm like, huh.
Was that marketing?
Well,
or bullshit,
snap
Paul?
compared to like rice
I guess
sugars.
so.
It would have more snap than that.
It would definitely have more snap.
But it was the weirdest thing. It was
Right.
like, and so that was like the running joke in the homebrew shop. It was
Okay.
like, what the oh, you want some snap? 6-row is your way to
Right.
go, man.
Yeah.
You gotta have some snap in
It's
there.
right there. Well, and then flake maize instead of corn.
Yeah, but I mean that is more of a I don't have an adjunct cooker, so that is just the easiest way of getting corn maize into your mash. It's
okay.
The hard work's pretty much done, and it's almost like corn oatmeal or corn oats type mixture. So
how'd you like the beer when it came out?
For me, it's a really tough one because we're tasting the beers through fermentation, daily labs, and there are some days you're like, holy shit, this is corny.
Oh, no, yeah. You're like, uh-oh.
And then you become really sensitive to it, and then when you're going through the whole diacetyl arrest thing, and, your point of reference is hot buttered popcorn, you have a beer that tastes like corn and hot buttered popcorn, you're like, what's going on with this?
Yeah, I'm terrified.
It's like, everyone tastes this and let me know, is it too much corn and is the butter gone? So
so it made you nervous. It stressed you out.
A lot of things stress me out, but yeah.
Anything not in a spreadsheet stresses Paul out.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Any variables that
And
are in my
you can't-
control.
Yeah, I mean, well, you're putting that on the spreadsheet, but then now you're looking at it visually, and it's terrifying you even more, I guess. But in the end, it cleaned up as it should.
Yeah, it cleans up, and it ended up being a really nice balance. And you still get a prevalent corn forward flavor to it, but it's it's nice. It's not. I don't think it's over the top, and it ends up being a really great summer beer. And it's especially summer team turn. You bring out your non-craft beer drinkers to breweries in the summer because the weather's nice. You can hang out. And someone's like, I usually drink Coors or Bud. What do you have? And you're like, oh, Pre-Pro Lager. And they're like, oh, this is really great. And, hopefully you win over another tongue or another mouth and, expand like, hey, this is, I don't think I'm going to displace Coors or Bud with this beer. But,
you're proving craft can be something else.
Yeah, exactly. And, there can be more flavor to, industrial lagers than kind of what we've been told. And
there used to be, as a matter of fact, which hence the style.
Yeah.
So that's another thing I always like is that we can say, that there can be, but it's fun for me also to tell people there used to be. Like that before Prohibition, the beer that the mass beer that now didn't exist. It was very different, and in fact, the Europeans might not have made fun of us before Prohibition for the beer that we made.
Yeah, but before Prohibition, your 6-row could have come from the farmer down the street, and if you lived in a different state, that same 6-row was coming from a different farmer. So you had a lot of variance in kind of regionality and character to what was being produced, and it's what's in your glass, used to be much more so representative of the agriculture around you.
Yeah.
And not, I think, I'm not knocking big beer. When you drink a Budweiser, it tastes like a Budweiser no matter what country you drink it in. And that's hard to do.
Yeah. Just like a Big Mac.
Yeah, exactly. But along that process, you have to make conscious decisions and homogenize your ingredients to make it more predictable or, manipulate it in a way. So, if it was, brewed in this brewery or in this brewery, it's the same beer.
Sure.
But, it's, I enjoy kind of looking for those kind of oddball styles that people don't do.
Yeah.
We just did an English Strong for the Freighter series, and, a lot of the reaction was, I don't remember the last time I had an English Strong.
Of course, yeah.
It's...
And that 21-year-old was like, actually, never.
Yeah.
But I love the ABV in this beer.
Yeah, right.
I can't feel my toes or my tongue or my fingertips.
Yeah. And so that's nice. You're getting to introduce people to these kind of styles, too, and making them go, I don't remember even having one.
Yeah.
And I imagine you did them well, like all of these others, too. And just to go back to the kind of, used to... the agriculture used to be around you when you were brewing, pre-Prohibition. It goes back to like, in Germany, every village, every town had a brewery for a reason. It was actually just practicality. Like they wanted beer, and you only made beer locally. You didn't transport beer. There wasn't refrigeration. Like that's just what you did.
It was as far as you could carry it.
And so we're not exactly reinventing the wheel with craft beer in America. With all we joke about these like there's 100 breweries that pop up a day or whatever the new BA number is, right? But they're really just presenting us with what it used to be. That every village, town, city has a brewery.
Absolutely.
Of course, we have choices on top of that, but we're not even changing history. We're going back right? Like you guys in Richmond. There's only a couple of you. And before there wasn't a brewery around. So you're like, it harkens back, even though we think, oh, craft beer's brand new and it's all new and everything we do is new.
Yeah.
It's not really that fucking new.
Wait, we're not special?
Yeah, sorry. You're not that
There's
special.
really, like,
Yeah.
one thing I'd love to import from Germany. I went there when I was in college. Granted, it was a long time ago, but the family I stayed with had a beer man that worked with the local brewery, and they had all these swing top bottles, and they would have a beer delivery, kind of like
like
you
a
would get
milkman.
milkman. But it was the
Wow.
beer man, and they
Wow.
would take their bottles, their empties away, wash them, reuse them, and they would deliver beer to your house.
Teresa, Rip Beer that we had on our last episode, they aren't doing it as much, but when they started, they were delivering beer door to door.
Yeah, growlers of beer.
I'm talking like now, like modern day.
You could call them up and order growlers, and they will bring them to you wherever you are.
And they are still doing it, but it like in the beginning, it was their thing. Now, it's not the whole like exchange your milk bottle or your flip top for new ones, which I also love. But I loved them for what they're doing, and I was like, "This is a cool thing." So they're in
Huntington
Where
Beach,
are they?
right?
Huntington Beach, Huntington
okay.
Beach, and you can still call and get growlers delivered right from the
man.
brewery.
Huh.
Yeah,
If only, I mean, that would be like one reason to move there. Unfortunately, I have like 100 reasons not to move there.
not too
so.
sure. Yeah. Well, I'm going to start it in your area. Teresa.
Okay.
Another task that you need.
I want this bad enough that I might be willing to try to spearhead it
And
somehow.
frankly, in communities like yours, and I'm sorry to do this to you two, but communities like yours in Richmond as well, it's actually possible. Like, I'm not saying you deliver all over the Bay Area, right? But
just in your
this
little
kind of, there's all these memberships now is kind of the thing with the,
the clubs or the whatever, right?
And so, like, the Rare Barrel has one. You get rare beer. Well, maybe a membership actually allows you to get some beer delivered.
We're doing a farm share at our brewery, a CSA, and so
Pick
they
up
pick
your-
up on Tuesday.
Pick up your beer.
Pick up your six.
We're changing the world right now, Teresa.
My head is exploding. I'm super excited about this idea.
All right. Well, to bring you back down to earth, we will talk about this next beer in our glass, which is another great beer of yours. This time an oatmeal stout. So our first ale that we're having of yours today, right?
Yeah.
Tell us about this beer.
This one is, let's see, probably 90% Thomas Fawcett malts. We've got our pearl backbone, some chocolate, some dark crystal, some oats, and I'm forgetting.
Midnight wheat.
That's okay.
Midnight wheat.
Midnight wheat.
Midnight wheat. Okay.
One of my favorite grains.
Really?
Yeah.
What's different about this? Like, is this flaked wheat? What's the difference here?
I believe it's just like a kilned wheat.
So it has a darker SRM.
It's a much darker SRM, but you don't get a whole lot of that astringency or sharpness to it. It's but you get a little bit of mouthfeel. So it's kind of like a smooth dark chocolate, very subtle in flavor, but does add a lot of color without adding a lot of astringency. to it.
You know what I've recently learned about astringency, just like I learned about bitterness? Things I should have learned a long time ago. It was Vinny teaching me on our show there that, like, there's nothing wrong with bitterness. I kept saying, I don't like bitter, I like flavor, or whatever. But we actually do like a firm bitterness, like in your Bow Pills, right? And I also used to, when I was first learning to taste beers with Jamil, one of the first things I could pick up was astringency. And I would pick it up when it was really strong in a beer. So I started associating it with as a negative. But there's actually room for some astringency. Like, you actually want a little bit of astringency. Like, I think like in this beer. You don't want it to be cloying. You don't want it to ruin the beer. You don't want it to be the only thing. But that there are styles that actually call for a bit of astringency.
And where it comes from matters also.
I see.
Not all astringency is equal.
So,
at least to
like
me.
what?
Like, some is more harsh and aggressive and just off-putting in general. But, like, there different types of malts can contribute different levels and intensities.
Okay.
And some are a lot more of a supportive role like this versus just coming in over the top.
That's right.
Yeah.
Some are supportive. Some are like Kim Shimke. Some are Beverly.
Sure.
Some are
Some are
Right.
Kim. Right. I'm going to look at...
Some are good. Some are Kim Shimke.
That's true. Yeah.
So
There
where
are
you're
good
saying
positive
good
ones.
or great?
And then there's other ones that aren't.
Yeah.
Who can define astringent? I'm picturing our listeners, some of them going like, well, what is this astringency you talk about? Anybody here can? I'm going to look it up.
I think of it as well, ashy is like astringency gone wild. You know,
okay.
Like where you're tasting like you had your mouth open by the campfire too long.
I feel like there's a sour component to it as well, but not a good sour, but a bad sour.
Or just like a harshness where it's kind of hurting your throat a little bit.
And it can be kind of like tannic and dry grassy, too. Like it can be biting.
I always think of astringency as having to come from tannins, and tannins I feel like coming from it dries your mouth before it should be dried. It sort of sucks the moisture out.
So that's how I always thought of it too. And now that you guys are talking about it, and I'm reading it, I feel like nobody should listen to me when I say that some amount of it is acceptable. But I just was reading through some styles and finding like some of it's okay. The BJCP site has it written as a beer fault, and they describe it as mouth puckering, lingering harshness, husk-like graininess. And I think it's the husk-like graininess sometimes that I'm talking about can be acceptable, as long as it doesn't go into any of the other puckering, drying out, drying your tongue, drying your, which this beer doesn't do, by the way.
No.
It's maybe I'm just picking up on a bit of graininess that I'm calling astringent, and I might not even be using the right word.
I kind of like that. I like that you're getting, multiple things. We often talk about, balance and drinkability and notes, multiple notes. There's 1-note beers, there's 2-note beers, there's 4-note beers.
Yeah.
There's complexity. It's complexity ultimately.
It is. This has a bit of a creamy oatmeal complexity. Has a bit of chocolate in there, but a bit of graininess, which I think to me, or bready might be a better word than grainy. I don't know. It kind of helps round it out. It is complex, this one too.
Yeah. The pearl malt is a floor malt.
Okay.
So you do kind of get a little bit more, a little bit more in-depth flavor, a little bit more bready, doughy, not just, you're just not getting raw sugar. You're adding flavor to the mix as well.
What's the ABV on this? Your oatmeal stout?
5.2, 5.4.
Thank you. Thank you. A low
5.4.
5.4.
Oatmeal stout.
Yeah.
Nobody, I don't know. The ones I see commercially are like 6%. I'm not trying to drink that.
And do you think that they go higher because people are adding so many other malts that they're adding a lot more fermentables? That maybe Paul's getting more flavor without adding fermentables?
I don't know what it is.
What do you think, Paul?
I think, we all kind of fall into, dark beers are strong beers. So
which is
a
myth.
5% oatmeal stout or 5% stout doesn't make sense. So I might as well make it 8.
I see. So it's not that they're trying to get color and adding sugar. It's not that they're trying to add chocolate flavor and adding sugar. They're just doing it.
I think they're just doing it.
Okay.
Just my personal opinion.
JP likes your opinion. I can.
I
tell.
really do. I appreciate it very much.
Well, he's going to show it to you. All of his opinions are in a spreadsheet as well.
I like that. If I can enter a question and get an opinion back out, basically I just need an AI.
Yeah.
To
Paul's
tell me
like
what to think.
the Zelda machine or whatever it is, and you just want to put in a quarter and get out your fortune. Here's the answer. This is your Paul.
What was that motherfucker?
From Big?
Zorba. Hey, Zorba the
right?
Greek. It's Zoltar.
Zoltar. Zelda.
Whatever.
Zelda machine.
He's your scientific Zoltar. You just want to punch in a question and get out an answer.
That's right.
That's all you want.
Link. Over here.
Yeah.
Well, we have another beer, but before that, I wanted to talk a little more about the community there in Richmond, because you guys started a series, at least on your blog. I don't know if there's a beer to coincide, but you have this Pride and Purpose series that you've started to highlight people in your community.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
Yeah, we just, we just have been very pleasantly surprised at the reception we've gotten in Richmond. Like I said, we chose that place because we liked it, and we thought, we'll have our production brewery there. We'll just do our thing with a little tap room, whatever, who knows.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying the tap room is a mob scene all the time. We do get more people than we thought.
Great.
We have a good set of regulars. We have tons of parties. People love parties, and we don't charge. Just like, hey, we'll save some tables for you. Come to your birthday, your retirement, your engagement, your baby shower, whatever.
Nice.
A lot of that going on. We also have partnered with a lot of nonprofits. There's tons of nonprofits in Richmond. When you start a brewery, you cannot believe, as sure as you know, Teresa, like how many emails you get from people requesting.
We do too here at the bar,
right,
yeah.
which
Yeah.
is great. It's awesome. We can't always, sometimes it's just we're supply constrained or resource, human power constrained. But
Yeah.
we try the best we can to participate, either by going out and pouring at events or having fundraisers at our tap room. We've had the mayor of Richmond had his campaign kickoff at our tap room. We had council members do their campaign kickoffs. We had a council member forum before the election last year where we had all the candidates for city council come, and so it's not only sort of fun and games, but it was like there's some civic
Sure.
meaningfulness to this, which really meant a lot to us. So
as it should.
Yeah,
and that goes away a lot. I experienced that here in Concord, and I didn't expect to. I thought even Concord was too big for that sort of thing. And before I know it, half the city council is in here, even randomly on their own, having a beer. The mayor came and cut the ribbon. The current mayor just came and did a meet and greet just to talk with people. It's called Beer with the Mayor. And it's nice to see local, like to be able to interact with local government and local community, right?
Yeah, you feel like you're playing a little role in
Which
something
is
that's
the-
bigger than just trying to run your business.
Which is the opposite, at least in my experience, how I feel about the rest of the government. Right? Like I feel, without going too far down, I like, it feels nice that I maybe have some input and some role and some, input's not the right word. I can facilitate some
Exactly.
community
Yeah,
engagement.
you're a catalyst. Yeah. Right.
Okay, go on.
So anyway, we've in a couple of years we've been open. We've developed a lot of relationships, friendships with a whole bunch of different people, and we realized that, as I said, we're really excited about the upside that Richmond has, and we want to help again be a catalyst for that, push that along. And so we started this series called Pride and Purpose. Pride and Purpose is the motto of Richmond.
Okay.
And so we just have this big list of people and organizations and individuals and food trucks and all sorts of people and artists, musicians, craftspeople that are doing their thing in Richmond, working hard, unsung, need more attention brought to them.
Yeah.
So we just write a little piece on them. We put on a blog. We promote it on social media.
Sure.
And we're trying to get a little bit of a critical mass, basically.
Yeah.
And people paying attention to Richmond. And of course, I'd be lying if I say we weren't doing this for our own
that's
building
okay.
our brand as well. But we
That's
want to
okay.
again be sort of the
Yeah.
the underwriters for that, if you will.
Yeah, and listen, we're all capitalists here, and that's just fine. And I think anyone who says that they don't get something out of this too, it doesn't mean it's not altruistic.
Yeah.
So, all right, well, if you want to go check that out, you can go to eastbrotherbeer.com and click on the blog tab, and then you'll find the Pride and Purpose there. I'm guessing we'll end up seeing some beers out of this later, some Pride and Purpose beer or something coming through the pipeline.
Somebody suggested that the other day, a pride and a purpose, some sort of complementary thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I'm just going to say, like, no one's talked about Richmond in a long time. So I think you have every reason to showcase some of the people that have lived there, been there, run businesses there when nobody gave a shit. You have all the reason to promote that.
Yeah, for no other reason than economic forces. People are moving to Richmond.
Yeah.
The artists are moving in, the musicians are moving in, the young families are moving in.
Yeah.
But there's also a very strong feeling. One of the nonprofits we work with is Richmond Main Street. They're tasked with revitalizing downtown,
Okay.
which used to be a bustling hub when you look at this, the pictures back in the 40s and the 50s and 60s.
Sure.
But there's a very strong movement to have gentrification happen in a way where there is minimal displacement.
Maybe we can do this together.
Yes.
So that's why I stopped using, not stopped. I didn't use that word, gentrification.
I figured it was intentional.
Because I feel like Richmond, and I think Oakland is trying very hard at this too, that they're trying to have that experience with minimal displacement. And look, it's going to happen. Displacement happens, and as soon as things change, for better or for worse, these things happen. But there are some communities that are more deliberate than others, and I feel like Richmond's one of them. Yeah. Richmond's very deliberate about trying to okay, how do we do this together?
Well, I think gentrification is fine if you're talking in a very negative light, as far as tech companies coming in, like in the Tenderloin or whatever, and changing things for the point of catering to their needs over the needs of the people who live there.
Right.
But you can also revitalize downtowns, and you can revitalize certain sections of the cities, and not necessarily be gentrifying. I think that term. I think you're sort of right that it is kind of a negative term.
It can, yeah.
You can revitalize and bring stuff that the community wants. Maybe it's a beer, maybe it's brewery, because they need a catalyst, I think, to help sort of wrap the community back up again and kind of involve everybody in what's happening.
Yeah.
And there's not a lot of places like that, especially places like Richmond that I understand have had a lot of economic hardships.
Right.
If you have a place for a community to gather and feel like they're part of the community, then that's revitalization. That's not gentrification.
It is.
Right.
You're 100% right.
Hell yeah, dude.
The issue ends up becoming if there are, especially in places like the Bay Area, Los Angeles, New York, you name it, where it's very expensive to live, if you start to lose places that people can afford to live because you've revitalized, well, that's gentrification.
Yeah.
So if you can do your best to find a balance, do your best to prevent people from becoming displaced, then that's positive. I don't know. It's not a catchy. That's positive community growth. You want. By the way, many of these communities want to be revitalized as well.
Sure, the people want jobs. They
Okay,
want to do something.
And a nicer place to live.
But they don't want their rent to double.
Right.
And so this is a hard thing. Like I'm not going to pretend I have an answer, and I'm sure you won't either.
I do.
The answer is more houses.
Do you have a spreadsheet? Is it in a spreadsheet?
Yeah. The answer
Not
is
my
more.
spreadsheet.
Oh, okay.
Actually, I have a playing card deck, and I have different words on them, and then I use that to,
There you go.
to all of my policies are based on the 52 card pickup style. Is what I call it,
Interesting.
I love that game.
One of the cool things about Richmond, the people are super, super proud of their history and where they've come, and they're proud that they've endured these hardships and the ever-changing community. We've done a couple of functions, and we've met people that have been in the community for 40, 50, or almost their whole lives. And it's just really interesting to hear the stories. And
I would be fascinated.
And it's cool. I don't think you have many areas where there's so much civic pride of what you stand for and where you're going and what you're doing. So
I've never had that.
I'm proud for you guys.
I've never been proud of where I come from.
Yeah, neither have we.
You're right. Yeah. I mean, Oakley's not that great.
Well, I come from Livermore. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. All right. Well, we've got another beer in our glass, and I'm getting to the bottom of it because it's also very good. This one is your double IPA, right? Do I have that right?
You got it.
Tell us about this beer, Paul.
So this is kind of a classic West Coast double IPA, but with kind of a little bit of a wink to some modern. I used Azaka hops. I think is the most modern hop I've used in the last couple of years.
Okay. Is that one that we just smelled on the table too?
It was on the table.
It was. When we were just down at Firestone, he had put down a bunch of hops, and Azaka was one of them.
Yeah.
Go on. I just want to point. It's unique. This hop.
It's unique. It's when I first tasted it, it really reminded me of Citra, but it had a lot of tropical notes to it. Citra is like, citrus on 110%, and this had a little bit more depth to it. And then I believe it was some Cascade hops just for some bitterness and some balance, and give it some of that old school dankness.
Yep.
And again, it's crystal clear.
Yep.
So-
How dare you?
Do you notice a theme?
Yeah. Crystal clear, very dank in a very good way. A little fruity. Drinks like a single IPA. It's probably bitter a bit like a double IPA, but still drinks like a single IPA.
Yeah. Personally, I think next iteration maybe a little bit more body, but I'm really happy.
Yeah.
With the beer, and we've been doing really well in the tap room.
Do you just add simple sugar too to dry it out, or is it all malt?
All malt.
Really?
Yes.
It's dry, like one of those. Let's put a little. What do you just dextrin and just throw that in it? Dextrose. Thank you. I always get that wrong. Throw some dextrose in there. No, not even that. Because you got down there. What was the? What's your OG and FG? You do it in Play-Doh, however you do it. I don't care.
We were north of 20 Play-Doh to begin with, and it went down further than I expected.
It did?
So
that's why you're saying you might add body?
We had to proof this a little bit, so that might have taken some of the body out of it, but yeah.
Oh, what do you mean? Because you had already registered the...
We did. It takes you about 6 weeks to get a label on a
Sure.
can, and
So you do that ahead of
So they
time?
want tasting notes, what the recipe is, and ABV. Often before I brew the beer, so it's. So
you got to do some. Okay, I understand. Yeah, you got to make sure you get that right. No one wants to get in trouble.
Yeah.
I don't know. I still think you kind of nailed it.
Thank you.
Pretty good. Yeah. But isn't it? It's dry, like you add the
like
sugar, the simple sugar.
Yeah, West Coast style, I guess.
Well, that's what he said.
Yeah, light
too,
in body.
Yeah. Light, dry, crystal clear. So again, just bit of tank time and then filter.
Mm-hmm.
Is it almost that clear, this one, when it comes out of tank?
Oh no, this was.
This one's cloudy.
We do it once a year, so we went heavy-handed on the dry hopping.
Okay.
And probably our lowest volume beer coming out of fermenter, but.
Okay. Do you have an idea how many pounds per barrel you're dry hopping?
100.
4 to 5, closer to 5.
400 to 500
pounds per barrel. That's a good chunk.
Yeah. So if we're going to do this one on a regular basis, I'm going to have to rewrite a good chunk of the recipe. So we can charge a whole lot more for it.
Yeah,
so.
I understand.
Well, that's the fun thing about doing the one-off is you can go a little crazy because you're not going to have to replicate it and scale up and
Yeah. We got offered a keg today. I couldn't say who it was if I wanted to because it's not my department. I just heard them talking about it, and when they talked about it, I was like, "Wait, they charged what? They want what?"
Yeah.
I was like, "On principle." I don't care if that's how much it cost them to make that keg. On principle, we are not buying that keg. And anyway, my staff had cost out what it would what we should charge, and it was $24 a pint and $12 a tulip for some. And I think it was somebody's IPA. I hope. I don't think it was a sour.
Oh, it wasn't Fafun?
I was working, and that I might have done.
Right.
I should have done.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
And I just heard it, and they had been talking about it for 5 minutes before it even registered in my ear. I was like, did I just fucking hear that right? Did I ask? And they weren't going to buy it anyway, but I just absolutely not. I don't care how good it is. On principle, we are never absolutely
you
not.
tell Vinny to go fuck himself.
Right. Yeah. We've had Plenty the Elder before.
It definitely wasn't.
Plenty the triple.
I really don't remember who. I probably wouldn't say anyway, but I was like, oh, no.
I know you wouldn't.
No.
But
I was like,
off
no.
air, you're going to tell me.
No fucking way. No, I'll find out for you off air.
Yeah, please do.
Because I want to know now, too. Like,
that's rude.
Listen,
I'm curious, too.
Yeah.
I mean, I respect y'all, and I have talked to a lot of our friends off the air, and they tell me how expensive, it can be to make beer. Like, I get it.
Sure.
But fuck you.
That's right.
That's ridiculous.
It's offensive and just fucking rude.
That's what I said. I was like, listen, on principle, I don't even care if people will line up at the door to buy that. Yeah. No, I'm not encouraging that behavior.
Well, if you're talking $24 pint, what is that, $600 keg?
Yeah,
I mean, that's kind of crazy.
Basically what we were
Maybe,
looking at.
maybe the brewer's getting a livable wage at that price.
Oh.
Yeah, maybe so.
At that price, you better be driving
Probably
a
not.
Tesla.
Right.
Like, come on now.
I think there's other ways for a brewer to get a livable wage.
Yeah, like work a second job.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like on top of your 80-hour week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really
basically.
well
Come
scheduled.
on.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Right.
I go to work 9. I leave at 5. I have lunch at 12:30 to 1.
Sorry, this day
Nothing
trip-
ever bad happens.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, wait. I spent 16 hours here. That was
Yeah.
totally scheduled.
Yeah.
Shift beers, bro.
And I'm still not
sorry.
done.
I'm sorry if I'm calling anybody out on this, but no, there are other ways to pay your brewer that way, and people have different models of how the distribution of profit goes. And so,
Sure.
for example, I have said deliberately, probably to you guys too, but to my staff here at the Hop Grenade, you all will have health care and not have to get another job and several other things before I ever have a house on fucking Maui, a mansion on Maui, because you can decide how you distribute profit.
Sure.
You also, by the way, I'm not saying everybody's greedy. Early on, you have to decide how you structure your company. So if you structure your company with 18 investors who all expect to get paid 18% back or whatever shitty deal you made, well, then, yeah, your brewer's never going to make more than 50K, 30K. I don't know what. That's just how it's go. So, in other words, there are decisions all along the way.
Oh, yeah. And I don't think
And it doesn't have much to do with the cost of a keg.
Oh yeah, and
Not once it goes from a $200 double IPA to a $600 double IPA.
Oh right, because the sales staff has to get their cut too, which is where a lot of that
company
goes.
structure.
Exactly.
I'm just saying, I'm sorry, but
sure.
Maybe I'm not the greediest owner in the world, and I don't know.
Yeah, it's not the retailer's fault. There's people in between the retailer and the person writing the check.
Sure.
And some decisions are in the business owner's control, and a lot of people get into not everybody is the expert business owner when they get into an industry, and then you get stuck into a corner. And so,
right. Also, some of them want to drive a Porsche before the brewer gets paid a living wage. Like, this is what I'm saying. Like, there are things.
Yeah.
Like, I'm calling it out right now. It's on the air. So if I'm ever, if I have a Ferrari and a fucking mansion on Maui before anyone's getting a living wage, call me out.
Right.
Is what I'm saying. Like, there are ways you can structure your company that doesn't happen.
I drive a 2008 Nissan Sentra. Just for the record.
I'm just thinking about calling you out to see if you'll let me stay at your place.
Yeah. I'll be like, well, I'll share the bedroom. Fine. Call me out. I don't give a shit. You can have the spare room. Yeah.
Yeah. Because your mansion's on Kauai, not Maui.
That's true.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Meanwhile, you have 2 jobs.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway.
Well, I love it. I learned a lot from that.
Did you?
Yeah, I appreciate that very much.
Great.
And now I just want to yell at Warren because nobody writes checks anymore. It's all electronic. Who writes checks?
Sorry, that's a waste of paper.
Writes checks. I don't know why.
No.
I don't care about the environment. Use all the paper you want.
I'm always like, send a check to somebody. And she's like, okay. And she fucking writes out a check.
That's how my bank account is so big right
and I'm
now.
like, the thing works. You just hit the button on the bank account and the website. Oh, okay.
And then she writes it anyway.
Yeah.
She writes a Post-it note to remind her to not write a check.
All right. You guys are free to go, or you can hang out, because I'm going to take a break right now, and we're going to come back, and we're just going to dick around for another 10 minutes and finish the show, which you're welcome to do. But I'm going to give you that choice off air, so you don't have to tell our listeners whether or not you want to stick around with us.
They'll know if they're not here.
Actually, the police are on their way.
Yeah. But we got to wrap a few things up. I'm going to have another one of your beers, which I've just really enjoyed. Is there a Bo Pills that JP and I can arm
We're
wrestle
gonna have to
for?
fight for it.
All three of us.
I'm telling you, we're kiss fighting. I wasn't joking.
Who can hold your breath the longest?
Yes, I was deadly serious.
I'll go right back to the Vienna. I thought we were
We're sticking around for that, by the way.
You are
the kiss fights.
Right.
Look, there's no strictly spectation. You have to participate.
I got to participate.
That's right. Yeah.
No, I'm spectating. I have a 2-year-old, and I don't get out much, so I'm going to sit on the backside and watch this go down.
Yes. I was looking because I thought we had another one of yours on tap, and either we drank it last week when you all supposed to be here. I think we tapped one of your kegs right before I canceled the show, so we might have. It was probably the fucking Bo Pills, and they got drank all week long.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, we will take a break. I want to thank you both for being on the program.
Thank you very much.
Pleasure to talk to you guys. JP.
Yep.
As of, let's see. Just a couple weeks ago. The 5th of this month.
The 5th of this month, okay.
We've officially been doing this program for 14 years.
Wow.
And having you two in on the show and your wonderful beer today reminds me of why I still do it. Really fun to talk with you guys today and have great beer, and that it actually doesn't get old when we get to taste awesome stuff like that.
That's true.
That means a lot. Thank you very much.
Thank you guys for being here and making good beer. Now East Brother is on my map. It wasn't before. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on with your marketing, but I didn't realize that you had amazing beer.
Whatever you do, don't hire Kim Shimke for it.
But now I know. All right. Go to eastbrotherbeer.com. Do I have that right? eastbrotherbeer.com. Yeah, that's it. And you can look up there. They got a blog where you can learn about the
Pride and Purpose.
Thank you. Pride and Purpose series. There's a jobs link. I like that, too. Maybe they'll be hiring soon. You can check out the tap room, all sorts of things. So go over to eastbrotherbeer.com and check it out. We'll take a quick break, and when we come back, I'm going to drink more of their beer, and we'll wrap up a few things.
Okay.
All right. Goodbye.
Bye.
Company on the Central Coast of California. You're listening to Brewing Network, The Session. It sucks. Does it suck? It sucks. But that's what's good about it, is that it sucks, right?
All right, welcome back. Thanks for hanging out with us today. East Brother Beer Company still in the studio. They decided not to leave us. They got nothing else to do.
That's right.
They're not talking, but they're still here.
Well, we can't find the keys, so
Yeah.
to the shackles.
Lost the keys to the RV this week. I was supposed to drive Beardy down Firestone.
On our date.
On our date weekend.
Yeah.
Our couples weekend.
Getaway.
So how did you get
That
there?
must have took some of the romance out.
It did.
You
It
didn't
took a
have
little.
anywhere to sleep.
Yeah. It just. No, we took the RV. I found my spares somehow.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Somehow I didn't even know I had those.
I was getting my RV keys out just in case.
Yeah, well, that probably took forever.
I know right where mine were.
Yeah, but it still probably took forever because you're slow.
Well, and I had to find them.
I'm
I had to
pretty-
see with the bowl. I had to find the bowl where they were in.
I hate this conversation.
So do I. Doesn't it drive you nuts when you lose? Like, I'm pretty good at, like, at my age, I was bad enough at that for years, like where you lose your wallet and your keys and, like, your
Dude,
important.
yes.
That now, everything in its right place. Like, I'm really a little anal about it. Like, my stuff just goes where it goes. And so when it happens, I'm more perturbed than I ever was before.
For sure. And Karen does that shit all the time. Her keys are everywhere, and she never can
I
find
don't
them.
understand
And it's like,
that.
I know where your keys are, and I never use them. So how do you not and you just put them on the thing where this is where the wallets go, this is where the keys go, this is where they go.
Yeah.
And then when I can't find my keys, then I feel like a bigger asshole.
That you've said anything about it?
Yeah, so I never really make a big deal out of it or even ask her if
Right.
she's seen them because I don't want to be like, oh, so it doesn't feel good. Everyone loses their keys, and it's fine.
See,
but it's not every day.
Well,
And then
yeah.
and then I scream at her.
It just bothers me more. I still don't know where they are, and they only ever go in two places. That's it. Actually, they really one, but then there's like one other
Yeah,
place.
the
Not
ignition or
there.
your pocket.
So then I'm like, you're at the point where I'm like, well, they got stolen. Somebody stole them, which
Oh,
clearly didn't happen.
Why wouldn't
But I can't find any other reason. I don't know. I'm a little anal about this stuff, and
Yeah.
so it was very.
There's a
I
big
didn't
black
let.
market for RV keys.
Yeah.
That's what I'm like. So this is where my head goes, and then I'm like, Justin, you're a fucking idiot. Like, really? Who wants your keys?
Right.
They don't know where they go. Your
That's
RV
true.
is
Yeah.
parked 8 miles away in a lot.
Yeah. And you could leave it unlocked and no one's going to take it.
You can leave it running and no one's going to take it.
Which is what I
For all
thought
10
happened.
minutes.
Which is actually what I thought happened. Because the keys were in any of the places I could think of. I was like, well, it's at the RV.
Yeah, that would make sense to me.
And then no one wants to take the fucking thing.
Right.
So I'm like, the RV's still there, and the keys
Probably
are in it.
Bring it back to you.
No keys. Yeah. Thanks, but no
Right.
thanks. Matt wanted the tour. Matt from Firestone wanted the tour of the RV this week. I was like,
human
I was
tour?
like, no, you don't. You don't want. I was like, I'm really embarrassed. You don't want to see this. He comes in and he sees our 12-pack from the night before since we stayed up till 4:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, that's what happened.
Yeah.
Yeah. He let his kids in there though, so he wasn't worried about tetanus or anything.
Well, hey, man, the penicillin is good.
Yeah.
Fresh.
Well, I wanted to do a little bit of beer news today.
Oh, geez.
Oh.
Hell yeah, dude. Let's go.
Bit of a feel-good story from Germany.
I like that.
According to The Hill, German residents in a small town bought all the beer in town to keep it away from a far-right neo-Nazi group that was having a concert there.
What?
Residents of Ostritz, Germany, bought up hundreds of crates of beer to keep it out of the hands of neo-Nazis that were descending on the town for a music festival. This, I guess, was according to the BBC. A Dresden court had imposed a ban on the sale of the possession of alcohol at the Shield and Sword Festival.
Which doesn't sound far right or neo-Nazi enough.
Right. Yeah.
The Shield and Sword Festival.
The Shield and Sword and Completely White and No Jew Festival.
Yes.
This is what it's called.
It was. So when the Dresden court imposed that ban, police went into the venue and confiscated more than 1,000 gallons of beer on Friday and Saturday. So, suspecting that the festival attendees would then seek to buy alcohol at the local supermarkets instead, town residents reportedly went out and bought more than 200 crates of beer. The plan was devised a week in advance. George Saldit said that we wanted to dry the Nazis out. We thought if an alcohol ban is coming, we'll empty the shelves at the supermarket. For us, it's important to send the message from Auschwitz that there are people here who won't tolerate this, who say we have different values here and that we're setting an example, which is not the image of a far-right concert which dominates the media coverage. And by the way, it's not just far-right. They were neo-Nazis, according to this article. The court had ruled that the festival had an obviously martial and aggressive character, and the presence of alcohol was likely to exacerbate the risk of violence. Good call.
But it does.
And so even about 1,400 police officers were deployed at the event. They said there were some minor incidents, but I thought that was pretty cool that the town was like, oh, yeah? Well, we're going a step further. You will not be able to buy a single bottle of beer
That's right.
at the grocery store.
Bring it all over here.
That's some bringing community together, right, Rob?
How much beer is in a crate?
I think they're 24 there. I'm trying to remember.
Because like the milk crate, I think is what it is.
Well, yeah, and you know why they
You
know why they call them crates there? You do actually deliver your empty bottles back to the supermarket in Germany to buy your new bottles.
Like a milk crate.
Yeah,
kind of thing.
or be charged. And I think I remember a crate is 24 out there. I'm not sure. Anyhow, I just read that today and I thought
24 metric bottles.
Pretty cool. Yeah, pints. Really, like that's a lot more
5
than even
mil.
that. Yeah. Yes.
500 mil.
500 ml, yeah.
I was like,
5 mil bottles, can you make?
24 5 mil bottles.
Right.
I had a handful of all of these bottles. How big is your system? It's 100 mils.
That's what they should have given the neo-Nazis 5 mil bottles.
Yeah.
You can have your beer in 5 mil bottles.
You know, we should have sent them that Lagunitas hop water. Have you guys seen that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Which version?
I haven't drank
chillest
it.
concert.
Yeah. Actually, the mellow version, really, the mellowing version.
Yeah.
I tried this.
The
hop
I'm
water.
driving version.
Mm-hmm.
I've been looking for it because I just really like laughing at Lagunitas, and that would help.
A friend of mine
Can't find it.
brought me a couple, and when I first tried it, I really liked it. It's pretty good. It's like a sparkling water.
Yeah.
It's not bitter, but it has some fruity hop character.
Okay.
I thought it was really good. And then I drank a bunch that night, and I was hungover the next day, and I was like, oh, sparkling water sounds really good right now.
Uh-oh.
And I opened it for that. Not good.
Not good.
No, because it has enough beery qualities that if you're looking to be refreshed when you're hungover,
not it.
Not it.
Huh.
Nope.
But sober as like a sparkling water alternative, it was all right.
Well, it's better than a soda at a brewery, you know.
For
like,
sure.
Yeah.
Like I save all my calories for beer. I never drink soda.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that kind of beverage is compelling because it has a lot of flavor but doesn't have a lot of calories.
You've had it
driver
too?
beer.
Oh yeah, I made it actually.
Oh, so is your experience the same as mine? Like I thought it was kind of good and refreshing.
Well, I didn't drink it hungover, so
Well,
I'm
but
missing
when
that
you had
part
it
of the
sober,
experience.
you thought it was.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I think it's awesome.
Yeah.
Wait, you're
That's-
talking about the THC infused?
No,
hop
no,
water.
no, I don't
Oh.
touch that
We're
shit.
talking
Well,
about
right.
the
That's why I was
virgin
curious.
hop
I thought you
water.
were saying you liked.
No,
it
I
in
can't
that.
do the weed. No,
Oh,
it
okay,
makes me
okay.
all weird and paranoid and weird.
Okay, so they do just an untainted hop water.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You guys would sure fail the
There's
newlywed
hop
game.
water,
Yeah.
so they have hop water and hi-fi hops.
Okay.
Hop water.
I've seen the
is,
hi-fi hops.
yeah.
Then. Okay.
Is that THC or CBD?
It is
THC infused. Yeah.
Oh yeah, if I had chugged that, I'd still be in a corner.
Yeah.
No, don't talk to me. I'm sorry for everything I did.
Sounds like we're like the same kind of stoner.
Oh, it's terrible. I mean, I used to be a
Fun at parties.
stoner. But then once I quit and tried to go back, it's never worked.
Well, it was 10 times as strong when you went back, right?
I mean, yes, I was smoking but yes,
Mexican
there's that.
Bammer weed.
And
Man, this
everyone's-
brown is a really good color brown. I love it.
Right. Fresh.
It's crunchy.
And everyone's always like, oh, you just got to practice more, you got to try more, which is probably true. Like when I was first a stoner, I had to get past being a stoner before I could be a stoner, like a functioning stoner.
Yeah, your power level needed to be higher than that.
But I just can't handle it. It's so.
I always thought it was
awful.
weird where like you have to, they say break your tolerance, or you have to basically poison your body enough so your body stops rejecting it.
Right.
And then it's cool.
And then it's fine.
Maybe that's a sign that
that's
you
a
probably
problem.
shouldn't be doing it.
Yeah. I'll stick to the heroin. It's fine.
At least that doesn't
black
have
tar.
a weird reaction.
All right. We did have a Twitter game today, one that I really liked. What was our Twitter game,
well,
JP?
hey, I appreciate that. It was lately we've been getting into body enhancements. We've been thinking about going and getting bicep implants in Bulgaria or going to Argentina and getting elf ears. Where should we go next, and what should we get done?
Okay. How did we do? What's your overall impression? How did they do?
I think we did pretty good. I think we did. I think we did pretty good. I appreciate some of the comments. Some of the comments were very funny.
Okay.
And some were slightly less funny.
Okay.
In a weird way.
All right, as usual. So Rob and Paul brought us some swag to give away from East Brother Beer, which Bevo will be sure to send eventually,
depending who you ask.
Whoever wins today. So.
Yeah, I mean, good luck getting it. From what I hear.
That's,
I don't know.
Sounds like this. Was a Sam? This is what Sam said.
Yeah. She doesn't give me anything.
Good
and
luck getting that.
Yeah, and I equated that with, of course, the Twitter game.
The Twitter game.
Yeah,
because we're not sexist.
Right. It's
Or
true.
dinner.
That's true.
Yeah. Good luck getting it.
Are you ready?
It's our new motto, by the way. I'm going to put out a BN shirt today.
Good luck getting it.
We are moving our store to like more like one of those on-demand things. So now when we come up with stupid ideas like this, I can actually put a good luck getting it shirt.
Yeah, that's the way to go.
Yeah.
Man. Good luck getting it.
All right, what do we got?
All right. Well, somehow we could hear Bev from
Turn
the
on your microphone, yeah.
soundproof booth.
No, I didn't want any. That rude was just for me.
But it was loud enough that it went through.
Because it was
the
hella
doors
rude.
open.
I opened my door so I could hear the Twitter game.
I see. Oh, right. You have no headphones.
Or, anyway. Okay, John McConnell says we should go to Disneyland to get Mickey Mouse ears.
Okay.
And I just imagine like actual Mickey Mouse,
Oh,
like
permanently?
physical ears sewn into my scalp, and
Which you would
I thought
do.
it was funny. Mike says Mexico for an Elvis wig to complete a tiki lounge outfit.
Okay.
Which I thought was really
A lot
weird.
of JP inside
Actually, yeah, I'm not
jokes.
gonna, I'm
Did
gonna
you
take
put this
Mike
out on the? Did you put this out on our Twitter feed
It's his
or
Twitter.
Ears Up Twitter feed?
Oh fuck!
Shit, you were logged into the wrong one.
Oh, dude.
Damn it.
Well, we'll just keep going and pretend I did it right.
Oh my God. Shit, look at it. Here.
What is happening?
Turn it upside down on him.
Yeah.
The Queen of the Dutch tilt. There you go. It's fine. Cameras are hard.
Yeah.
It's all right. Don't
She's
worry
new to
about it.
Instagram.
That's
You
true.
can't see them.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna put,
Yeah.
just gonna
See
put
the
it down on your belly.
Maybe that's how you get 50,000 followers.
You're like,
figure this out.
you're like a little to the right.
Oh my God. The lighting is atrocious. Philip writes in and says, America for hop tits.
Oh my God. Go to America for hop tits.
Yeah.
Which is what we all already have, basically.
Basically. But I imagine like cone, like hop cones.
Oh. Oh, like, I
tits.
see.
That's what I imagine.
If we're
I
gonna
don't
get
know.
them sculpted, we might as well get them sculpted how we want.
That's kind of what I'm saying. Like
I thought we were just talking about my flabby. Okay, all right.
well, like like Willamette or whatever the like. There's like longer cone hops. Just like, you know what I mean?
Did you go for the Willamettes or the tight citrus?
Yeah, I'm more of an Idaho 7.
Okay.
7-inch nipple. No, okay. Tyler writes in and says, what does he say? He says, in Chechnya, anything is enhancement. Having whole body is blessing.
This is true. In Chechnya, we're lucky to have limb.
We share one. Sam Williams says JP should go to Africa for a skin transplant, and then he'll be able to wear any shirt that he likes. Which I thought was pretty fun.
Winner.
First of all, East Brothers is horrified that they stayed for
Yeah,
this.
They're like,
But just
I
a little
beat our kid.
backstory. JP wore a shirt he did not know was racist.
It's not racist.
He
It is
determined
racist.
was probably racist, although innocent that he wore it.
It was mistakenly, potentially racist.
Still, we do not have to finish this game because that.
Yeah.
But
Unless there's a better one.
There's only 4 more left.
That was a good one.
right.
Yeah.
Hang on, I'm still writing this one down. JP Africa win. Got it.
Yep.
Okay. William says, I hear prices and selection Martinez are both great, and they're running a special on hobo livers.
Hobo livers.
That could be good.
That's an old school listener right there.
Yeah, for sure. Lloyd says Bangkok, and I'm not exactly sure where you should go. In Bangkok, but we should just go to Bangkok and get whatever happens.
I'm not going to put that one down.
Okay. Patty's House and Ales and Lager says Philly for John's.
Okay.
We'll get her John's in Philly.
Philly for John's.
And then last but not least, Joshua says, I hear the morgue is having a sale on parts. Justin could swap out his dying feet for dead ones and just get it over with already.
Okay. That's my number 2 right there.
Pretty deep. So,
by the way, my feet aren't dying anymore.
What?
I started.
Wait, so they're dead?
No, the B12 worked.
Oh.
It's fine.
I should have gone. I did that once, but I went B13. I went one better than you.
Yeah. And now you have larger feet.
That's true.
And a 6th toe.
Yeah.
My feet are very powerful.
I mean, there's really no question of the winner.
Yeah.
JP has to get a skin transplant so that he can wear whatever he wants.
Yeah, sure. There you go. All right, great.
Yeah.
I love it. I love doing that.
Right.
I love being a part of
Take Terrence with you, and he can get a transplant for the person he really is on the inside. Let's be honest.
You guys can swap.
That's true. I think
you
we
guys
should do
can
that.
swap.
Ooh, that's like a horror movie.
Yeah.
swap.
The skin swap.
Oh.
It was
Didn't
a
they
real,
do it?
that's
Like
a
a
real
porn
movie.
Is it?
Yeah, wasn't it a real movie? It was like
It was Nick Cage and
Face Off.
No, that's
Off,
Face
Face
Off.
Off. Yeah.
Face's skin.
But
A
it was,
face's skin.
Okay, that was the mainstream version. There's another.
there is. It's like in the 80s where like I think it was C. Thomas Howell was in blackface and there was a black guy in whiteface. Wasn't there like a thing?
No, that's out of my wheelhouse.
Did I just make that up?
I was just thinking Silence of the Lambs. Didn't he wear a skin suit in Silence of the Lambs?
He did.
Yeah.
Thank you. I was thinking that version.
Yeah.
Right.
But that wouldn't produce the correct effects
True.
that JP's looking for.
You're
And
right. There was
maybe.
also
And I'm
The
looking
Wayans
for it.
brothers did White Chicks.
there was a skin suit in Men in Black too.
Soul Man, but it wasn't.
That's a low key racist movie right there.
Well, he takes tanning pills. First of
I
all,
remember this
there's such
movie.
thing as tanning pills.
I remember this movie well.
If there were, I would
That
take
is-
them.
That essentially promoted wearing blackface. That movie.
Yeah, for sure. It was
not okay.
It's a blackface movie.
It was
but it
my
was
dad's favorite, I'm
1986,
sure.
so
Yeah,
know.
the 80s were a remarkably unenlightened time.
Yeah, and
What
I've
do
never.
you think about it?
I've never even thought about that until just now. But now because I did watch the movie, and at the time I was like, "Oh, that's funny," and now I'm going, "What the fuck? That is not okay."
We had to go through that to know. Okay, we went too far.
Right. Right.
Everything needs a high water mark. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. My
Self-realization.
microphone's hopefully we'll all get there one day.
Why is
Okay.
Bev laughing?
Yeah, my microphone went limp, and there was a whole thing.
Yeah. Oh, I thought you did that yourself.
No, it just fell on me.
Oh.
I hate it when that happens.
All right, are we done?
Sure, dude.
We are done. We're going to go drink some more beer and hang out and have some dinner. I want to thank once again our friends from East Brother Beer, Paul and Rob. Appreciate you guys being here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for bringing all the good beer. I got another full Vienna in my glass. We're going to have to go get more of that Bo Pills, JP.
Yeah, we are.
Maybe just have a little stash for you in the corner, a little
That'd be
cooler of Bo Pills for
Man.
when you start bitching about.
I
all
would
the-
really appreciate that. I really would. Just like look at the tap list and reach in my cooler.
Yeah. Well, maybe you and I should make a trek out to East Brother, a tap list made for you. I feel like.
I think that would be great.
Yeah. All right, go to eastbrotherbeer.com. You can learn more about them. We are off next week because we will be at HomebrewCon.
Yeah, you will, dude.
Don't forget, you can still buy your tickets to BNA 14 and HomebrewCon. Go to thebrewingnetwork.com and purchase your tickets now. The beer list is stellar. I'm hoping to have it done for you by, tomorrow. There's some good stuff on there. It's fun. Plus, should I just give away the musical guest? I probably should.
dude,
It's
just
going to get
say
out
it.
anyway.
Yeah.
I invited back the School of Rock kids.
Oh, there you go.
You remember the School of
They
Rock kids?
were bad. I remember when they were performing, I remember literally looking around at the crowd because I'm like, who's going to care? Everybody was watching these kids just shred.
And
it
me,
was
you,
amazing.
and Nate were going wild.
Yes.
Like, they were just awesome.
We
So,
loved it.
School of Rock is a real
Yeah.
thing, and they teach these kids how to play rock, and they're so talented, and
They're
they end up with like a
badass.
performance band.
Yeah.
So there is a School of Rock in Providence, and I found out, and I invited them to come do a performance as well. So
That's cool.
not only are we giving away a More Beer, the Brewing Network More Beer sculpture, but there's the School of Rock kids are gonna be partying. It's all you can drink from. I think we're gonna have 20 different beers there, and it's gonna be a lot of fun. And you can hang out with me and Bevo. Bevo's my wingman for the week. Poor girl.
This is going to be a weird homebrew con.
Wingman until about 8 o'clock.
Right.
I know.
Just give
I
her
have
some
to go to
scotch.
bed now, Justin.
I'd be like, what am I? You're lucky Chris White's there for the week, so I got
Yeah, thank God.
You're lucky.
I got my other wingman. Yeah. All right. So
Am I lucky or are you not lucky.
I don't know.
Both.
Yeah, I was thinking, it'll be like the first homebrew con that I go to bed early too, because I don't have
You
a
don't
crew.
have anybody, yeah.
Chris White, I'm sure will.
Oh, yeah.
Be my crew.
Yeah, well, he's older now.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't keep up with him.
No.
Or Doc, or I feel like I'm the old one.
Well, I mean, again, not true, not incorrect.
I'm gonna have Paul write me a spreadsheet for how I should exist through the week. Like
program
I mean,
you.
can you program me, please, Paul?
Yeah.
Like, go to bed by this time. Here's how you can drink this much in this hour, and
it's noon somewhere.
I feel like it's already in Paul's head. He's like, no, I got you. I
Yeah.
have this spreadsheet.
Yeah, just give me a workout of your metabolism and your genetic, DNA. And
He's
then
already
we'll,
figured that out.
yeah, oh,
He's
shit.
got AI for that.
Damn,
He
bro.
was in Silicon Valley for years.
Oh, man.
Yeah, not the show, the place.
No, okay.
You don't have too many milestones left, Justin. So his spreadsheet's not very big.
The only milestone you have.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I say Pi's like, this is easy.
Yeah.
Let's see, you're 42. And you're,
Justin,
am I 42? I
Justin,
don't even know.
you're 41.
I
You're-
am?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
You're transitioning from milestones to kidney stones.
Although the level of beer
Headstones.
he's drinking, that might help.
Does it?
Okay.
Is
beer,
this the one good thing about my beer consumption?
Yeah, I think beer helps fight kidney stones.
Let's
Wow.
find, let's
You're
find out if
kidding
beer
me.
help fights kidney stones.
Are you going to Google this real quick?
No, specifically beer.
Where'd you hear this? On the interwebs?
I read it on some clickbait.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I always say, when internet knowledge matches my lifestyle choices, I'm down with it.
On
Yeah.
top, yeah. Anything definitive?
Yeah, I mean, potentially maybe, but apparently...
Okay.
It makes you pee, but
Because
you're
I
drunk,
said
you don't
it's
give a shit.
potentially maybe.
Yeah,
Okay, so
Yeah. So it's right.
Actually, it hurts like hell, but you don't remember the next day.
You're just going to blame the cheap beer? Yeah.
Okay, beer doesn't necessarily directly cause kidney stones, but it can increase the likelihood a person will develop kidney stones.
Oh, well,
And this can
okay,
happen
stop
in multiple
now.
different ways.
Stop now.
Oh,
That
so I had it
one's-
backwards.
Stop now.
Because,
Wrong side.
Fake
because
news.
dehydration
Delete.
can cause kidney stones. Apparently, it's one of the largest reasons kidney stones form.
Yeah, drink more water.
Drinking excessively, particularly beer, also means you're getting a lot of empty calories, and that can cause weight gain.
So the opposite of what beer D.
yeah.
Oh, now you're going to start listening to me?
Well,
Yeah, you know I have selective hearing. It sounded like something I wanted to hear.
And you would have felt better about it had we just not looked it up.
JP, I would have drank more.
Yeah.
well, I'm just taking my medicine.
Right. All right, everybody.
Glug, glug.
We'll see you back here in a couple of weeks, and I hope to see you at HomebrewCon. And JP, take us away, will you?
Yep. Just call me Calgon. Thank you to our show sponsor, More
get it.
Beer. You can get absolutely everything you need to make great beer at home by going to morebeer.com. The boys from East Brother Beer Company from Richmond, California came in with some very good lagers for us to fawn over, and we love them for that. Check them out at eastbrotherbeer.com. Head over to etsy.com/coveyears and buy some of my Disneyland-themed t-shirts and help me afford therapy for my kid in the next 10 years. Get on Twitter for some good beer insight and homebrew info. Follow Nate Smith at Nathan Homebrew, Mike McDole at TC McD. Warren is stuck over at another Beardy, and our newest broadcaster, Teresa, is online at Sooty Brews. What is it? PSUTY Brews and Crooked Lane Brewing. JP knows Twitter is dead, of course, so he's on Instagram at Major Jip, and you can find Bevo there as well at Beverly M. Moore. Be sure to find the Brewing Network on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
JP's an asshole. Justin's a nice guy and winning the race.